What qualities should best help a man to win the national championship of American golf? The local knowledge of a home pro? The intense desire of a talented amateur? The hungry yearning of an unknown professional? The powerful determination of a handicap player? Or the tremendous talent and dedication of the greatest golfer of all time? In the case of the Opens played at the Baltusrol Golf Club in New Jersey, the answer is not simply the last named, as you might imagine, or any one of the qualities we've named, but all of the above. All of them. Willie Anderson had been the home pro at Baltusrol a few years before the first of 6 U.S. Opens was played there in 1903. With his local knowledge, he opened with an 18-hole Open record of 73 and went on to win the second of his 4 national titles, a mark equaled only by Bobby Jones, Ben Hogan, and Jack Nicklaus. 12 years later, Jerome Travers, a nationally known amateur, but an amateur all the same, a socialite from another New Jersey club called Upper Montclair, surprised the golf world by beating the best pros in the country. 21 years after that, in the Depression time of 1936, it was the unknown pro, one Tony Manero, who came out of nowhere to a national title. Trailing the well-known light horse Harry Cooper by 4 strokes with 18 holes to play, Manero shot 67, won the championship, and was never heard from again in a major tournament. Another 18 years passed. Then in 1954, we were reminded that the race is not always to the swift or the battle to the strong. It was assumed that the winner that year might be Ben Hogan, or Sam Snead, or Kerry Middlecoff, or Jimmy DeMeritt. But the winner was none of them. Instead, it was a one-time winner in 10 years on tour, a man who recently had retired to a club pro's job, a man with a withered arm named Ed Fergal. But if the battle is not always to the strong, it's still the way to bet, as Damon Runyon said. And that point was made the next 2 times the Open came to Baltusrol, because the same man won both times, the greatest golfer ever to play the game, Jack Nicklaus. In 1967, he won a final round battle with the other most famous player of the time, Arnold Palmer. It was the last time these two would meet head-to-head for a major championship. And in 1980, at a time when many thought his star was on the decline, Nicklaus won again, edging out Isao Aoki of Japan while the crowd chanted, "Jack is back, Jack is back." And now, 90 years after Willie Anderson, Baltusrol again plays host to the Open for a record 7th time. What has been proven here is that, as in life, nothing is certain and anything is possible in the game of golf. This weekend, once again, one player will rise above all the rest, putting together his talent, his desire, his determination, and his poise in the right place at the right time. I wonder who he'll be.
ABC Sports proudly presents the National Championship of American Golf, conducted by the United States Golf Association. Welcome to live third-round coverage of the 93rd United States Open Golf Championship. The leafy, pastoral setting at Baltusrol contrasts starkly with its backdrop, the glass and steel of New York City. The United States Open is a major happening when it returns to the tri-state area. Tunnels and bridges lead under and across the Hudson River into New Jersey. And the map shows you the location here, Springfield, New Jersey, home of the Baltusrol Golf Club, hosting a record 7th U.S. Open. The clubhouse here, one of golf's gems. This was simple farmland back in the 1800s, was purchased by a New York socialite by the name of Lewis Keller, who didn't even play golf. Today it houses 2 of the great courses in the United States. And if you can win here, you can win anywhere. Another large crowd on hand. Hazy, overcast weather here today. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. Well, how many golfers growing up have imagined themselves standing over that 4-foot putt on a Saturday morning saying, this is for the U.S. Open Championship? Well, this weekend, someone will live that dream. And at these 86 sites last month, almost 6,000 entries began the trip here with local qualifying. The survivors moved on to sectional qualifying at these 12 sites. And then here at Baltusrol on Thursday morning, a field of 156 teed off, including 3 amateurs. Now, there are also exemptions into the Open. The winners of previous U.S. Opens over the last 10 years are invited back. The winners of the Masters and the PGA Championship over the last 5 years. The United States Amateur Champion is exempted into the Open, and young Justin Leonard out of the University of Texas is putting on quite a show here. Now, the USGA also hands out precious special invitations to deserving players from around the world, and 2 very special invitations to players right here in the United States. Jack Nicklaus, who has won 4 U.S. Opens, and Tom Watson, who has won 1. And like Hale Irwin a few years back in Medina, Watson is trying to take that invitation all the way into the winner's circle. And a gentleman who has been there for the coronation of 27 previous U.S. Open champions, we welcome Jim McKay. And Jim, a record field of 88 survived the cut, but they're still going to send them out in twosomes today.
Yes, they are. And as you know, there are 2 schools of thought on the matter of pairing. Some players would contend that it makes no difference with whom you're playing, that it's you against the golf course, and that's that. Others would say, well, it can make a difference. Good play on the part of your fellow competitor may light a fire in your own belly, and bad play may bring you down. We have, at any rate, some very interesting pairings for you today. One features the 21-year-old national amateur champion, Justin Leonard, whom Brent mentioned. Today, he's paired with Mark Calcavecchia. Easily the most colorful pair of the day should be John Daly, the long hitter, who reached the 630-yard 17th in 2 shots yesterday, and former champion Fuzzy Zeller. These 2, by the way, are good friends. They played a lot together and may have some interesting comments during their round. Fred Couples, boom to his friend, still looking for his first Open win on his 12th try, is paired with former Houston All-American Mike Stanley. And Billy Andrade shot a quiet but very effective 67 yesterday to move into the fight. He's with Paul Azinger, he of the great bunker shot that won the Memorial earlier this month. Scott Hoke, who sprinted into an early lead in the first round, is paired with Corey Pavin, the 140-pound technician whose game seems very well suited to Baltusrol. Nick Price, a native of Zimbabwe, now resident in Florida, the reigning American PGA champion, is with the former Open champion Payne Stewart. And the final pairing features the leader, young Lee Janzen of Florida, with the 43-year-old comeback kid, former Open champion and 5-time British Open champion, Tom Watson. Quite a group, Brent.
Jim, we welcome to the broadcast booth a USGA committee man. That's right. Peter Jacobson on the equipment committee. Partner, nice to have you with us. I wish you were playing this weekend, though.
Well, thank you, Brent. I wish I were playing, too. I didn't play very well the first 2 days. I do have to give the USGA an A+, though, for the way they've set the golf course up. In talking with my fellow competitors, they have mentioned that they like the shorter rough. And I think the reason they like the shorter rough is it involves every club in your bag. Normally, when the rough is so long, you just hack it out with a sand wedge and then play to the green. Now you're getting flyers to the very hard and fast greens. The bunkers are very soft. You can't spin it out of these traps. So it involves every aspect of the game. The other thing we're going to see this morning are the first 7 holes at Baltusrol. We have not seen these 7 holes, and they're the most difficult on the golf course. As you can see, the first 2 rounds they've played to 485 strokes over par. The middle holes a little easier, but still tough, 244 over par. And the last few holes coming home are the easiest. They played to 10 under par, and certainly 17 and 18, both par 5s, the only par 5s on the golf course. They're your birdie chances.
Peter, some of the folks around the course have asked me, what about the crustiness of the greens? Are they getting more and more difficult as the tournament wears on?
They are. They were very difficult Thursday. I had a problem with putting, as a lot of players did. Sometimes you're going to see some of the balls bouncing a little bit. They don't water, but 15 minutes every night, the greens and the fairways.
Well, here is a look at John Daly. Birdie opportunity at the 3rd. And the big man putting on quite a show. The loudest ovation and cheer of the day was that roar that went up when he found the 17th green in 2 shots on that par 5. Now, moments ago, on the 4th tee, this is Justin Leonard, and our Mark Rolfing has been out there watching the players come through. This is the U.S. Amateur champion.
4th hole played 176 yards today. This ball is started left of the flag.
Well, what a lucky break he got there. That's really one of the only water hazards on the golf course. You've got a few creeks and some lateral hazards, but you don't want to give away a stroke or two by putting the ball into the water on number 4.
Fred Funk for birdie on up ahead at 14. The field began teeing off this morning at 7:25 because there are 88 players over the weekend.
If you can get through the early holes under par, as Fred Funk did, he's 4 under for the day through 14. You have a good chance to break 70, with par being 70.
Here's Raymond Floyd now, Peter. His second at the par 4-8.
It's done. Looks like it started.
Very well done there.
Nice shade here.
Ray Floyd told us this morning at breakfast that there's too much cash for the fellows who finish down. He wants more for the winner of the Open.
Well, since Raymond always seems to finish near the top, that would make sense.
Right. So it is Fred Funk who has put on a bit of a burst. It'll be interesting to see if one of the early players does make a move on the leaderboard here.
Well, there's always a different mindset for the players that are starting earlier. They know the lead is 6 under. They know they have to play incredibly well to have a chance to win. So they go out very aggressive. That can be dangerous, though, because these greens are getting hard and fast, and the pins are always tucked on the weekend.
See, it looks like Calcavecchio was in the same spot that Leonard had found, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. A lot of the players were talking this week about how they'd rather miss the bunkers. They'd rather put it into the short rough around the greens because the bunkers are so soft, and a lot of times the ball will plug.
Now we stay for Leonard. What a story. I'm sure many of you have read about it. He went out with the U.S. Open champion Tom Kite, who unfortunately didn't make the cut, with the British Open champion Nick Faldo, and he beat both of them over the last 2 days. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, I think that's a situation where Kite and Faldo obviously are expected to contend for the championship.
I jinxed him, partner.
Well, it's not that easy out there. And Justin kind of went out with Faldo and Kite unnoticed, kind of on his own, and all the attention was turned on the great champions of Kite and Faldo, and he just kind of played and did it very quietly.
Now Jeff Maggart has found that bunker alongside the first. He's just underway.
What a way to start your day. Number 1 is the most difficult hole on the golf course for the first 2 rounds. It's 470 yards long, and if you don't put the ball in the fairway, you just can't reach the green. They've got some cross bunkers in front of the green, so it makes it difficult to run the ball up. And even if you do put it in the fairway, you're still faced with a 2 or 3 or 4 iron to the green. As you can see, very difficult to spin the ball out of these traps. Every week on the tour, the players are used to hitting out of very hard, very firm bunkers and spinning the ball, but that's something the USGA is thinking more about into the future. They want the sand trap to become more of a hazard.
Here's Funk from the 15th tee. Now remember, the field doesn't reach a par 5 until they get to 17. But he reached some of the deep grass, didn't he? There's still some rough here.
Yeah, there is. As we saw Justin Leonard earlier when he dumped his little chip shot, it's spotty. There are some very thick spots, but there's some very sparse areas also.
Now let's go back to the first tee, and here is Fred Couples. Couples 1 under, 5 back of our leader.
Freddie Boom Boom Couples has elected to hit the 3-wood and has pull hooked it way left. Could possibly be out of bounds.
You know, Joey Sindelar, after being one of the co-leaders in the first round, went up, hit his to the right into a hazard, took a double bogey 6, and was not heard from after that. The first time that a first-round co-leader has ever failed to make the cut. And so if you get off to a shaky start, it really does affect you, doesn't it, Peter?
Well, the holes that are ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4 in difficulty are on the first 7. Number 3 is the second most difficult hole on the course. Number 1, as I mentioned, is the most difficult.
That's a pretty drive down the right-hand side, but back to the Fred Couples story, the marshal down the left side did flag it out of bounds, so Fred will play a provisional, assuming the ball might be inbounds, but at this point we assume it's out of bounds.
Well, Frank Hannigan, the situation here.
Well, the situation is some people thought there wouldn't be a ball hit out of bounds on the left side of one all week, but he's just probably done it. If the ball should be found, he can play it. But if it's out of bounds, this is his third shot.
Fred normally hits the ball from left to right, and he set that first one up down the left-hand side, and he double-crossed it. He came over it, and he hooked it. Very unusual for Fred Couples. That ball finding the right-hand rough.
Now John Daly on the 4th tee. This is the signature hole here at Baltusrol, this beautiful lower course, and he's got all that raw power, folks, but he has a fine short game too.
Well, that's a popular spot, front left on number 4.
I wonder if maybe there's a little breeze that picks up that golf ball as it crosses that water hazard. We'll continue with our coverage of the U.S. Open. Well, let me update you on the Fred Funk story. He is playing brilliantly today. He is 4 under for the round, 2 under for the tournament. He's at the 15. Playing with Jack Nicklaus, you can see. That must be something to march along Baltusrol, Peter, with Jack Nicklaus as your playing partner.
Well, he's the man at Baltusrol. We all know that.
Well, Jerry, Couples paid a price, didn't he?
Sure did, Brent. Actually, the ball flew over the fence. Second ball, of course, avoiding the out of bounds. Played his third shot to the rough. Now he's playing his 4th to the first hole. He has 172 yards to the hole with a 7-iron out of the rough. Pin right on the front.
So his 4th shot settles in on the green.
Well, the thing Fred Couples has to do right now, there's 36 holes left to play in the Open Championship. He has to realize he has to keep on going.
Now, John Daly's 2nd shot at the 4th. When the big fella did something.
Brent, I think that John Daly got very lucky with his pairing. Fuzzy Zeller is his very close friend, kind of his mentor, and it's very comfortable for John Daly today.
Let's go to our Steve Melnick, who is with Corey Pavin, one of the leaders, who will be teeing off a little bit later. Steve?
All right, Brent, thank you very much. Corey, you're no stranger to being in contention in a major championship, but the key, I think, here at Baltusrol is the handling of the first 7 holes. Any thoughts on that?
Well, they're tough holes. You've got 1, 3, 6, and 7 that are very difficult, and if you can play those holes well, it kind of sets you up for a little more comfortable round. If you can get by the first 7 and just bear down and play the last 12, last 11 real strong, you can get a good round out of it here.
Is there any part of your game this week that's stood out, been stronger than others?
Not really. I feel like I've been playing pretty solid this week. If I haven't hit the green, I've been real close to the pin with a pretty easy chip, and when I've missed the fairways, I've had good lies in the rough, and that's been a real important key for me this week.
Stay cool out there.
Yeah, I don't know if you can this week. It's hot.
All right, Brent.
Steve, you look splendid in that hat. Oh, have they been selling that number around this golf course here this week? And there's the clubhouse here at Baltusrol, built for a cost of $100,000 back in the early 1900s, and off we go now. Jeff Maggart's 2nd shot on the par 4 second.
Keep coming. All right, man.
Joe Couples with a very, very long putt for a bogey after hitting his first tee ball completely out of bounds across the road. Jerry Pate reported a little bit earlier.
You've heard us talk about patience in golf, and I think it's more restraint. Here Fred is going to probably walk off with the double bogey, and he's going to have to control himself to keep from trying to knock it down the flags on those first 5 or 6 holes. So patience is more discipline, more restraint with your aggressive nature.
Well, that's a super putt there, and Peter, there's no question, patience is the name of the game.
Now, way back on the first tee, here is Paul Azinger, authored one of the most dramatic wins of the year, the Memorial. Safely away. This, for the members here at Baltusrol, is a par 5. This week a par 4. Now Fred Funk with a difficult par putt here at the 15th. So Fred Funk gives one back. He's 3 under for the day. So too is David Edwards, Nolan Hinkey. Now Billy Andrade in the first fairway, and he is playing with Paul Azinger, and Judy Rankin is out there with them.
Well, Billy just backed off as the very slightest breeze came up from his right, but I think it's really nothing. Just over 170 yards. Should be a perfect 6-iron for him here.
As you can see, there's not much stop to these greens, even with a crisply struck iron from the fairway.
Just before that, it was Azinger.
And that was a 5-iron from about 190.
Nice bounce.
As we said earlier, Brent, the players would much rather be in the rough around the greens rather than in the greenside bunkers.
Second shot for Daly at the par 4 fifth.
Get over the bunker. That's all we wanted, huh?
Yep, that was a bad lie there.
Get on the fringe.
Stay there.
Oh, damn.
On a roll back, down away.
I got shot before.
It's not as far back as it was yesterday.
No, it's 21 today.
Two of his 4 Open triumphs right here at Baltusrol. Jack Nicklaus on the tee at the par 3 16th. Oh, yes. And then, Peter, notice how the greens are here at Baltusrol. The ball just rolling back like a saucer upside down, and now John Daly with his birdie attempt.
From some 60 feet, trying to go birdie.
Yeah, that was very, very nice from down there. John Daly has started at 1 under par and is 1 under for the tournament. And he has moved into a tie for 10th place right now here at this grandest of golf settings. Lee Jansen, our leader, Payne Stewart and Tom Watson, of course, those fellows have not yet teed off. And there is John Daly moving up the leaderboard. And Steve Melnick had an opportunity to take us around this lovely golf course and show us how it'll play the last 2 days.
Players who compete for the championship this week at this A.W. Tillinghast designed golf course will find a course that requires a complete examination of a player's skills. and most certainly will expose any weakness. Baltusrol is uniquely different. This 36-hole facility has the distinction of being the only venue to have had U.S. Opens held on each of its two courses, the upper and the lower. At first glance, Baltusrol is not impressive. By today's standards, it would be described as a low-profile design. Built on gently sloping ground, nothing is contrived or forced, and each hole looks as though it belongs. Water rarely comes into play. Only the tee shot at the par 3 4th and at the dangerous dogleg right par 4 13th can players' tee shot find trouble. Baltusrol's greens can be described as subtle rather than dangerous. Most are roundish in shape, are not overly large, and because they are convex in design, balls tend to roll off the edges, a concession to the old style of architecture that sought to surface drain the greens. Greenside bunkers are relatively flat with gentle-faced slopes, and the sand is coarse. Players will have a tough time spinning the ball from the sand. Baltusrol is a punishing course in length, particularly its par 4s. With a par of 70, there are 12 demanding two-shot holes, with 6 in excess of 430 yards and 3 measuring 470 yards. Another unique feature about Baltusrol's par 4s is the surprising number of straightaway holes, 8 in all. They are the 1st, the 2nd, the 5th, the 6th, the 8th, the 10th, the 14th, and the 15th. The dogleg lefts are the 3rd and the 11th, and the dogleg rights are the 7th and the 13th. Baltusrol's distinctive makeup of holes leaves no breathing room from the start. Like an uppercut at the opening bell, the course is most difficult in its early holes, and pars are dearly sought. This week, like Opens past, the trend continues. To further add to the unusual rhythm of the course is the position of its only 2 par 5s, the 17th and 18th holes. The 17th at 630 yards is the longest hole in U.S. Open history. Nicklaus describes the 17th as a chain reaction, meaning each shot dictates the next. The finishing hole could produce concluding drama, as it can be easily reached in 2 shots and can present a swing of 2 to 3 strokes. The key to success at Baltusrol is simple: drive the ball in the fairway. Given its length, the demanding par 4s, and typical open conditions, the trophy on Sunday will go to the player who can drive the ball in play and will make the fewest number of mistakes.
Well, on that practice putting green, 28-year-old Lee Jansen, he's our leader, and he'll be going out a little bit later with 43-year-old Tom Watson. Jansen has won twice on the PGA Tour, both of those victories in Arizona. And here is Payne Stewart, who has not won since he captured the U.S. Open Championship 2 years ago. Now Billy Andrade for birdie on the first.
From the same position Fred Couples just putted from. Right over an old cup there. One of the unique features of the Baltusrol greens are the wide putting surfaces. Makes lag putts very difficult.
On the first tee. Perfect there, isn't it? Up ahead on the green. Hazinger for birdie. Very patriotic today, isn't he? Now Daly. He's at the par 4 6th.
Whenever Daly is first on the tee, he must wait for the group in front to be at least 30 yards further, or else they're in his range.
That's with his driver, and that's a big tee shot there.
Look at this. Calcavecchia turning around and saying, hey, he's hitting into us.
Brent, it happens every week. Whenever you're in front of Daly, we always turn around and watch where his tee balls go. It's exciting. It's different.
Yeah,
and it's impressive.
He is fuzzy.
Go back! Look at the difference there. Wow.
Azinger on the second tee.
Well, you only want to hit the ball about 250 yards or just less off this tee. That's not a driver, obviously. Good position.
Couples on the green. This for par. Now back to Corey Pavin's second shot on the par 4 first.
A great shaper of the iron shots, going to that front right pin. But as you can see, there is no stop on these greens. That's a bad break right there.
Lauren Roberts on the tee at the par 3 fourth. Back down to the putting green, and here's Steve Melnick.
Lee Jansen, another major, another time in the lead. You had 67, had the lead at the Masters. Here you are after 36 holes at the Open. What kind of experience do you draw from here that maybe you didn't at Augusta?
Well, I've made it one extra day here, so I must have learned a little bit. And I guess the next step would be make it one more day. And today will be an important day. I need to go out and play well today just to stay in the hunt. And I just got to be patient out there and take whatever the course will give me and play as well as I can.
How would you compare your golf swing now versus April at Augusta?
Augusta, I struggled a little bit the first 2 days and just got it around and just really, course management and good putting. A little bit how I did the first 2 days here, but I feel much more comfortable today than I have.
Well, go out and play well. Good luck, Lee. Brent?
Steve, last night at 8:30, Lee Jansen was still practicing his putting. He was out there all alone when Peter Alice and I came back for our late night show. Now this is Bob Gilder on the third. This is for a birdie. Very nice. The low score of the tournament so far has been 66. David Edwards may match that here this morning. Mark Calcavecchia for a birdie. Well, that's one way to get out of John Daly's way. Azinger at the second.
143 yards with the ball just nestled into the first cut of rough a little bit. 9-iron should be the club.
Right.
That was very nice.
I'm sure he was surprised by how quickly that ball sat down. He was expecting that ball to hit release all the way to the hole.
Second shot for Daly at the sixth. It's like Fuzzy is in good position there already, isn't he?
John Daly hit a real big drive, about 305, and the last 20 yards of it was straight uphill. This hole has a big dip in the fairway. He has an 8-iron from 171. Flagstick right on the front left. He likes the pin on the right, on the left, where he can take it in high from right to left. That's his favorite type of pin.
Settles in. Now back on the first tee, Nick Price.
He's hung this ball out to the right-hand side.
Stewart, Orlando, Florida.
Chip back. This is for birdie on the 4th. So that draws even. Haynes Stewart playing with Price. Not wanting to insult fans of either the Jets or the Giants, he broke out the colors of the Minnesota Vikings today.
I'm sure he'll have one of the other, the Giants or the Jets tomorrow.
Maybe not. Lauren Roberts for birdie at number 4. Basinger for his birdie at 2. Edwards played his way into the leaderboard, 4 under through 17 today. So the play well underway in this, the 3rd round of the 93rd U.S. Open. Still to come, Lee Janzen and Tom Watson. The original Baltusrol course was a primitive 9-holer, only 2,372 yards long. It was expanded to 18 holes and 6,189 yards for the 1903 Open. When it was completely overhauled in 1922, 7 of the original greens were retained. One is today's 16th green, which was the 10th on the original Baltusrol course. Now, it's a demanding downhill par 3 tightly guarded by bunkers. Originally, it was a curious par 4 of 330 yards. The green was completely surrounded by water, a 19th century version of the island green holes that came back into fashion in the 1980s. A reminder of the ABC lineup tonight: The Untold Story, An American Detective. Then the excitement continues with The Commish, all tonight on ABC. Here this afternoon, play continuing in the United States Open Championship. Haynes Stewart tied with Tom Watson. And here is Stewart.
Second shot at the first, 167 yards, wind at his back, out of the left-hand rough. Very hard to stop this ball once it gets on the ground.
Good boy, Payne.
Let's jump up to the 3rd, and Fred Couples, after double bogeying the first, now has a long birdie putt here on the 3rd. John Daly, a few moments ago, this for a birdie at the 6th. Price's second shot at the first.
Playing from the right-hand rough. Pretty good lie, though. The hole placement is on the right-hand side at number 1 today, so it's a tough angle for Nick.
Zeller playing with Daly. They won a U.S. Open in the tri-state area over at Wingfoot. Now here come Final two players. 88, record number, making the cut here at this year's U.S. Open.
Take a look at the first hole. Very, very straight driving hole, which is probably the most intimidating aspect of it. We saw couples earlier hit it out of bounds to the left with a 3-wood. The 3 cross bunkers that just eke out into the fairway just a little bit make running the ball into the green very difficult. The pin today is on the front right, and we saw Payne Stewart play a very wise shot. He landed the ball about 10 yards short, and it jumped it right up onto the front fringe.
So at 1:50 Eastern Time, the final group. What a wonderful contrast. 43-year-old Tom Watson. Non-winner on the PGA Tour since 1987.
Of Kissimmee, Florida.
He'd be a huge favorite here today if he can keep it going.
Keep in mind he has a brand new driver with a new graphite shaft from Norway.
Drive is leaking a little right.
Well, next time he might have to try some Swedish steel. Now here is the young man who was born in Minnesota, now also lives down in the Orlando, Florida area. Lee Jansen, you can just imagine the nerves that he's trying to settle right away. He played so elegantly yesterday. Fine swing. That'll settle down a few butterflies when you hit that first one into the fairway here at the U.S. Open.
The all-important first tee shot.
Now Fuzzy's all at the 7th.
Tee shot's down the right-hand side. This hole is a dogleg to the right, but that seems to be hanging way right.
Jerry, I think this is the most awkward driving hole on the golf course. You've got to drive over the bunkers that you see just on the right side of your screen down below.
This is for a birdie. Daly on the tee at the 7th.
Well, John Daly hit a driver, and he ripped that one. I'm really surprised. This hole is premium is placed on accuracy, but John feels real confident with that driver today.
Rolling away. Well, here is the 7th hole, another one of those long par 4s, Peter, and it has played quite a role in U.S. Open history.
Here are the bunkers on the right that I was talking about earlier. You don't play those down the side. You've got to go right over the top. They've got the tee way to the right. John Daly's drive, as you saw, rolled just into the left rough. And you see the big pot bunker in front of the green, which makes bumping running into this green very difficult.
1967. Last great duel, between Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus with a U.S. Open championship on the line. Arnold Palmer hitting that 1-iron up on the green. Then it was Jack. And with the 2-iron. So Arnie certainly felt at that moment that he had the edge. And it was Jack with a birdie putt. Watch Arnold's reaction here on the right. What is this? And it was never the same. Nicklaus winning that U.S. Open Championship, and the crowd's starting to gather at the 18th, and I would dare say they're probably gathering at the 17th too, murmuring and wondering, when is Long John Daly going to come through again? David Edwards with the day's best round and ties the low round of the championship. He shot a 4 under 66 today, and he just lipped out on the 18th. Almost had a 65. Corey Pavin now for birdie. This is at the second.
This putt should go from right to left. A rare miss for Corey Pavin from that distance.
Watson's second shot here at the first.
Pretty good lie, but going straight downwind. There's 180 yards and a bad angle.
He was just trying to put that ball on the green, and that's really all he had.
Stewart at the second. Jansen, his second from the first fairway.
177.
Yes, nice roll here, Rossi.
He had the perfect angle from which to approach this green.
What a start that would be. You can see the breeze there on the first flag. Now the couples with another birdie opportunity here at the fourth. Wow, nice comeback. Double bogey on the first, in case you missed it. Hit his tee shot out of bounds. Now he has birdied 2 holes to get back. And this is Stewart's second shot.
158 yards up the hill at number 2.
Slope that way.
We know who's playing with him. Nick Price, when we hear the sound of Squeaky the caddy.
And these 2 tee shots ended up within a yard of each other. Nick Price with 158. This ball coming in very low.
Harder. Come on, off that middle of it. Come on, keep coming.
Low, but I mean, his second hole, you saw Payne Stewart hit off with a 1-iron, as most players do. What they're trying to do is keep it out of the fairway bunker that you see in the middle of your screen there. That's going to leave them with about a 7 or 8 iron to a very interesting green. It's got a ridge that runs right up the middle. So anything that goes to the left of the green runs all the way to the left fringe, and anything to the right runs all the way down to the right fringe.
He's going for birdie at 3.
Putt just barely tries to move to the left.
Now Watson's third shot here at the first.
Pitching back up the hill, play a little chip and run. Has a 9-iron.
For years, nobody in the game is better than this guy.
Oh, demonstrated again, didn't he? Brilliant touch.
He's a magician. Players like Corey Pavin and Paul Azinger wish they were as good as Tom Watson around the greens.
He'd be very happy to escape there. Peter, in watching John Daly, I noticed his hip pocket. Well, let's watch this shot first.
Okay.
No, rolling off of that green. I noticed that John, is he carrying his own yardage book out there?
I would assume he is. A lot of times in the major championships, you want to be so precise and so careful that you basically double check what your caddy does. It's a pretty good idea.
You see there in the right hip pocket, some of the fellas have the caddies, for example, carry the yardage book.
Well, John's caddy is Greg Rita, who has won many major championships, won 2 Opens with Curtis Strange, and has been a great asset to John Daly's game. But it never hurts to double check your yardage and just to make sure.
Jansen at the first, his good luck symbol, the badge upside down.
This putt's going to be pretty quick. If he hits it real easy, it could go a little to the right.
What a start. Birdie attempt here for Price. Daly's third.
Delicate little chip right here. Just needs to flop it up on the green.
Well, Daly uses that 62-degree wedge to perfection. Normally, unfortunately, that's not what he wanted to do right there.
Well, an overhead view, and Lee Jansen birdies the first hole. A 3-stroke advantage on Payne Stewart and Tom Watson. John Daly, 1 under, has joined the leaders. Billy Andrade, and he is at the par 3 fourth.
Come on, Dad. Nice shot, Billy.
Wow. Wow.
Stewart, birdie opportunity here at the second.
Needed just a little more hit. Good line. Just lost its speed.
And we're going to be back with more golf action for the 1993 U.S. Open champ. Now we are back, and this is John Daly attempting to salvage par. Yeah, nice effort. But nevertheless, a shot lost. Second hole, second shot for Tom Watson, who did save par on the first.
Tom from 154 yards, wins slightly out of the right. Come on, left.
Sure, too. He didn't know.
Lee Jansen hit another perfect shot right down the middle of the fairway. He has 147 yards. As I said before, the wind slightly out of the right, and the shot's just a little uphill. Just a nice 8-iron.
Thank you. Thank you.
Spin left. Spin left. Oh, what a start this is for Lee Jansen.
I'll tell you, that's great stuff, Brent. That really is.
Rossi, does he seem nervous to you? Or?
Not at all. I talked to him on the putting green. He just acted like it was another day in the park.
Now Asinger for birdie at the fourth. Calcavecchia, who was at 2 under. To add another one here at the 8th. He is somebody who could put a lot of red up in a hurry.
Mark's a very determined player. When things go bad for Mark, he just bears down and works harder.
Yeah, we can't even get
Couples in trouble here at the 5th. This is his 3rd shot.
So you don't lose it?
You won't sell it.
Watching the game? It was over. That was it.
That ball's got to stop. It may come all the way back.
Check the leaderboard here near the top of the hour. Lee Jansen, who has already birdied the first, has an excellent opportunity to birdie the second, holds the lead. David Edwards in today with a 66. Mark Calcavecchia making a move, and it's a pleasure now to bring in Jim McKay. Jim?
Thanks very much, Brent. If you've just joined us, sit back and relax because there are a lot of interesting things about to take place. There you see some of the others on the leaderboard. 2 over, well, that puts them 9 strokes behind now, thanks to Lee Jansen starting out with a birdie today and looking like he might certainly make another one. Justin Leonard, the amateur, 3 over today. Now Watson at the 2nd hole.
Going up the hill, it's going to go a little from right to left. When you're worried about your putting, I've always thought that putts right to left are the toughest ones to putt.
He looked up. We didn't like it right away, Peter. Daly with his 2nd shot at the 8th. Daly playing loose as a goose today, and as you indicated, Peter, perhaps at least in part to the fact he's playing with Fuzzy Zeller, who's a good friend and mentor.
There's no question about it. You said earlier that your pairing sometimes has to do with how you play, and in Fuzzy and John Daly's case, it's helping them quite a bit.
Watson now for the par.
Again, right to left.
All right. Rock steady on that one. He remained at 4 under, 3 shots out of the lead. Parred the first 2. Magnificent chip on the first hole we had. Look from overhead down at Baltusrol. Great gallery here. Heaven knows how many people there would be if they had limited attendance. They say they've limited it to 28,000, but it sure is a lot of people. Fred Couples needs this for a par.
He's got to bang this up the hill. That's a great putt from there.
Now the leader, Jansen, opportunity for another birdie to take a 4-stroke lead. Well, there it is. He is now 8 under par. He's birdied the first 2 holes. Frank Hannigan had a little talk with the leader yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
Were you one of those kids who was somewhere on a putting green saying, this putt is for the U.S. Open?
I probably did that. The whole thing, you know, the Hershey bar open, the screen door open, the whole business. I don't think there's a kid that never stood over 5 foot on the putting green not to win something.
Who got you started in golf?
Well, when my family moved to Florida, my dad joined the club not far from our house, and that gave me an opportunity to go to the club a lot. And there were quite a few kids my age, some that I knew through baseball, so we played a lot of golf together, and I just got hooked. You know, I just loved it. Even though I was terrible when starting out, I loved it.
And now he leads the U.S. Open. Word from the course that Corey Pavin has just double bogeyed the 3rd to fall back to 1 under par for the championship. John Daly now for a birdie.
Should drop from his left to right. John Daly making a mockery of the length of this golf course.
Lots of shouts from the crowd. Remember, this is the New York area. It's New Jersey, but this is a New York crowd, and they think that gallerying a golf tournament is a participant sport. Now, on the fourth tee, Corey Pavin coming from his double bogey.
Get up.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. A lot of people thought Corey might make his move today.
That's very surprising. Very surprising. The way that Corey can move the ball around up there, and especially with the pin today, just behind the pin, you've got a little knoll, which if you hit it long, would bring it right back to the flag.
Payne Stewart. Ooh, hold it. Oh, we've seen so much of that in this championship, and we'll see a lot more of it. Balls going over the green. So it's the young 28-year-old Lee Janzen seizing the lead. He had the lead, but now he's beginning to distance himself a bit. In the first two holes, he's had 2 birdies. He's now 4 strokes, as you see, over Payne Stewart and Tom Watson. 5 over Nick Price, 6 over Azinger and David Edwards, who shot 66 today. And Mark Calcavecchi, who's got it going. He's 2 under par for the day and the championship. At the end of 8, young Mike Stanley, he's at 2 under there, as you see. Pavin fading fast. Baker Finch, Craig Parry trying to battle back. He was in the fight and then faded yesterday. Chip Beck, Billy Andrade still there, and Fred Funk, who played beautifully today. John Daly at even par. He's still got 8 strokes between him and the leader, but he's had a hot hand so far today. Fred Couples put his tee shot out of bounds on the first hole, if you weren't with us. He's fighting back from that. Love there, and Steve Elkington, an Australian. Ernie Els of South Africa. Fuzzy Zeller playing with Daly today. Larry Nelson, a former champion. Joe Ozaki, that's Joe, that's the brother of Jumbo. And the U.S. Amateur champion, Justin Leonard, still in there at 3 over par, making a fine showing. Craig Stadler was in the fight, but faded yesterday. Ray Floyd at 4 over now. Now here's Payne Stewart.
Very gnarly lie behind the 3rd green.
You hear the New York gallery. They bother you at all, Peter?
No, it's obviously a very enthusiastic, boisterous crowd. This is exactly what I think most of the players are trying to do with their tee shot, as you saw Corey's ball suck back off the little rise behind the hole. So it's very surprising that Corey especially would leave that ball short and put it in the water with his first shot.
Double bogey in the 3rd hole, and he now lies 3 on this par 3 hole.
But you know, that's just the thing that could get a Corey Pavin going. He's a gutty little guy. He doesn't get down on himself. He's got a tremendous attitude, and this could be the wake-up call that Corey Pavin needed.
We shall see. Not much to him physically, 140 pounds, but he can maneuver that ball around, as you said. Azinger. Good putt. Giving us a whole ballet on that deal. Now Payne Stewart needing this for a par at the 3rd hole.
Keep that Payne!
Those are the kind of putts that win championships.
That's a momentum builder. You need those.
Okay, all the numbers at the ready. We'll find out who will use them. Tom Watson.
That was from 165 with a 7-iron. Get it.
Fight. Stop.
Watson on the 466-yard 4th third hole, par 4. Now, Jansen played first here, and on Ted, this is his shot.
He was 190 yards, had a perfect lie.
Did not jump at all.
Go.
As you heard him say, it didn't jump. He thought it might jump a little, but it came out like it was teed up.
We learned very quickly in golf, no matter who you are, that 2 birdies doesn't mean 3 birdies. It turns around quick.
No, I like 5.
There's a lovely shot of the 4th hole. Most famous hole at Baltusrol, a par 3 over the water. 194 yards, playing from the back tee today. Yesterday they used the front tee, which is 162 yards, quite a difference. You do use all the clubs eventually here at Baltusrol, don't you, Peter?
Yeah, you do. You've, especially on the backside, you're going to be going for your 7, 8, and 9 irons, not only from the fairway, but also around the greens.
Okay. Nick Price, 3 under par, even on today's round. He's in 4th place right now behind Jansen, Stewart, and Watson.
As quick as these greens are, Jim, I'm not sure he can 2-putt that ball from where he is. He's got to come down a slope and then stop that ball. The pin's today only about 6 or 7 steps on the green, as we see Payne Stewart.
Actually, the 4th hole only playing to 176 yards today with the flag in the front. Nick Price knows he has not hit a good shot to that back tier. It's been a very fickle wind down here today.
So they're up on front of the back tee, right?
Stewart with a 6 iron. And it's headed left to the flag.
Dicing with death on that thing,
Well, that's a scary pin. That's what, that's a sucker pin, boy. Lee Jansen chipping up on the 3rd green.
That was a tough shot he had to play there, Peter. It was going uphill the first 3/4 of the way and then down over the slope.
So he'll have that putt for his par 4. He doesn't want to see those birdies start sliding away from him. Birding the first 2 holes, remember. We remember Gil Morgan last year at Pebble Beach. Peter, first man ever to go in double digits under par in the U.S. Open. 12 under on Saturday, and then it all faded away. Corey Pavin now on the 5th. 413-yard par 4.
After a double bogey, he is looking for something to get him going.
He has now slipped to 1 over par for the championship. 2 double bogeys in a row. Even as you and I. Watson now birdie attempt on the 3rd hole.
18 feet across the hill, coming from right to left.
Looks like he's playing a big break there.
It's going to break a lot.
I should say.
No, Tommy!
Come around.
No!
That was well planned, but it just didn't have the speed. You could see that took an abrupt turn to the left and was starting down the hill.
Fred Couples with a long putt for a par on the 6th hole now. Couples struggling today. Started out with a bogey or double bogey on the 1st hole. Picked up a birdie and another bogey. And unless he can make this, he'll have another bogey. That's long. Quite good enough. Gorgeous putt. Another bogey, dropping him to 2 over. Now Lee Jansen needing this for the par to remain at 8 under. One of the 2 strokes he had gained. Jansen back to 7 under. 1 under on today's round. All right.
Lee has got to stay focused, Jim. He can't get careless after 2 quick birdies. He still has a long ways to go.
Oh, yes. Price now. Remember, he hit a good shot on the 4th hole, long, but you say this is like lightning coming down, huh?
This is like lightning, and with the pin cut where it is, he is just going to have to try to kill this at the top of the slope and let the weight of the ball and gravity take over.
It's like a 40-foot putt that he has to hit 20 feet.
Yep, just touched it. Look at this. There it goes. That's a principle of physics, I believe, Peter Alice always tells us about, called Fletcher's trolley. And the ball does not slow down as it goes, it speeds up.
Well, that's a great example of what Baltusrol can do to you. These greens are so subtle. They're right in front of you. They're not hard to figure out. You just got to keep it on the right side of the green.
For a par, Watson. Oh dear. Drops him back to 3 under now. 4 shots out of the lead, so it's Jansen by 3 over Payne Stewart now, by 4 over Watson and Nick Price.
In his heyday, Tom Watson never missed a 3-footer.
For a birdie, Stewart on the 4th hole. See how close to the water he was with that tee shot.
He's got a break by putting off the fringe here. That's going to slow the ball down for him right off the bat. He's got a better angle. He's coming off the side of the slope, so this putt's going to work from left to right.
Good touch. Well, here's a problem for Paul Azinger on the 6th hole.
210 yards back to the hole. Lie in the rough wasn't too bad, but he's got to play a shot to run with a 3 or 4 iron.
Well played.
Yeah, slow down a bit. Lovely shot.
I like the way Paul Azinger's gone along, Judy. He seems to be giving himself a chance for birdie every hole.
I couldn't agree more, Peter. He seems very calm.
Now Nick Price needing this to stay in that tie for 3rd place with Tom Watson.
There are putts in major championships that keep you going. These are the kind of putts you need to keep your momentum going. If you don't, they let you down.
And he's missed it.
What kills you in major championships are careless plays. Lee Jansen just made bogey on number 3, and now Nick Price was very careless on number 4. It cost him a stroke.
So he drops to 2 under for the championship, back with Azinger and David Edwards, who shot 66 today, and Calcavecchia and Stanley, who are still out there. For the par, Payne Stewart.
You can see the Titleist on the ball lines up his putt. He putts right down the markings on the ball.
Little tip for the average player, huh?
Yeah, a lot of the pros like to do that. They will take the markings on the ball and line it directly where they want to putt, and all they have to do is set their putter now at a 90-degree angle to that line, and then just follow through on that line.
Use all the advantages you can get in this game. There's another good look at the 4th hole and the tee that's being used today.
Hole playing 176 today, and the wind is out of the right. There's very little of it. But actually, you've got about 30 feet to land your ball here, because if you land it 15 feet behind the hole, it's going to come right back to the hole.
How hot is it out there?
It's hot, Jim.
And humid.
It is warm.
Got those irons going today, doesn't it?
Rossi, it looks like he's swinging very, very well.
You know, he made a good swing at that second shot at 3. I think he thought it was going to jump out of the rough, and it just came out perfectly and actually had a little spin on it when it hit short of the green.
Peter, you guys play in all kinds of weather conditions out there on the tour, but a hot, steamy day like this, can this affect your game by the end of 18 holes?
Yeah, it tires you out coming down the stretch. You really can't take a deep breath.
Yeah. Okay, for the first 7 holes, you notice Tom Watson 4 under. Excuse me, 4 over for the first. First 7 have notably been the tough holes here, but not for everybody today.
Trying to duplicate what he did in 1980, Tom Watson made a hole-in-one on number 4 13 years ago, and he almost did it again.
Billy Andrade almost did it a little bit earlier today.
Well, it's an interesting look that Tom Watson, the Ryder Cup captain, is getting at Lee Janzen. Lee Janzen is number 8 currently on the Ryder Cup list. And I know that Tom is thinking about winning the U.S. Open, but he's also taking a look at his... let's take another look one more time at Tom Watson.
Did not miss by much, but that tap in will bring him right back to 4 under, steadying again. Here's Azinger for birdie at the 6th hole.
Going along very quietly.
Peter, he's putted at birdie on every hole, and only one of them has been outside of 20 feet.
Wayne Stewart second. On the 5th hole.
This ball started down the right-hand side of the fairway and needs a favorable kick to stay in the fairway.
Well, Mark, it took a bad bounce to the right, but it just caught the edge of the fairway.
This the 5th hole, 413 yards. Well, next Saturday, ABC Sports will be bringing you one of the top events on the Senior Tour. Going to have Jack Nicholson, Ray Floyd, Chi-Chi, Arnold, Lee Trevino, all of them teeing off at the Ford Senior Players Championship. Live coverage, 1 o'clock Eastern and Pacific, just like today, 12 noon Central next Saturday on ABC Sports. Now back to the business at hand, the U.S. Open. Payne Stewart. At the 5th hole.
Second shot for Payne, 133 yards up the hill, slightly into the wind.
While we're away, Lee Janzen had this birdie attempt at the 4th hole. That's the par 3. Okay, that for the par to remain at 7 under with a 3-stroke lead. Nick Price.
Nick right at 130 yards for his second shot at 5.
Okay.
That's a pretty easy pin position we have on number 5 today. Let's take a look at the 5th hole. You see the tee just below you playing out of a chute. Beautiful hole. Players' drives are going to go about in the middle of these bunkers. We call those shoulder bunkers in the world of golf course architecture. It's a very difficult green. Mounded, slopes off to the left, to the right, and even to the front, as we saw earlier when Couples' ball came all the way back off the green down to the front fringe. And the pin today, as we saw, is in the back right. Now Tom Watson back on the 5th tee.
You can almost see the humidity in the air there on this stormy afternoon. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Will it never stop?
Well, you kind of hope that those people don't move. You kind of hope that maybe you get a bounce off somebody's shoulder back into play.
Remember in Arnold's heyday, his galleries were so big, he often used to hit somebody in back of the green and the ball would come back. Now Jansen.
Rossi, I'm impressed by how many drivers are being hit and how forceful the players and aggressively they're going at the tee shot.
I think they set the course up perfectly, Peter. They made them use the driver most of the time.
Another New York shout. Good shot.
In some opens in the past, we've seen a lot of players laying up with 1 iron and 2 iron off the difficult par 4s, but here at Baltusrol, you've got to hit your driver.
Corey Pavin in trouble again. Getting a fairway wood out of there.
Get right.
Corey Pavin coming off a bogey at 5.
Nicely done. Nice job.
Before that, he had back-to-back double bogeys, so Corey off to a very poor start this morning.
Yep, he's 2 over par for the championship now. Started out 3 under. He's lost 5 shots. Payne Stewart.
Similar to the putt we saw from Fred Couples earlier, a big swinger from right to left.
Not quite. John Cook has just finished with a 69, bringing him back to even par. Okay, Calcavecchia, 3rd shot at the 11th hole. He had to pitch out. Drove into the boondocks and had to pitch out. So the 11th hole is a 428-yard par 4. As we move back to Nick Price with a birdie attempt. And then the 5th. There's the situation again. Jansen by 3 over Payne, Stewart, and Watson. By 5 over Azinger, Price, Edwards, Calcavecchia. And Calcavecchia with a problem. Well, they just did a great approach there. Stanley, Mike Stanley also still at 2 under. Some of the others.
Nick Price with a very makeable putt here. He's got to be careful. It's a straight downhill.
Justin Leonard, the amateur champion, with his 3rd shot at the 11th, and caught by the grass.
The 11th hole, Jim, surprisingly has played difficult this week. It's a sharp dogleg to the left, par 4, but it's a blind 2nd shot. The green sits down below, and there's a Redan bunker that, as you can see there, it sits right in front of you, and so you can't see the putting surface. And a lot of balls have been going over that green into that back bunker.
Now, Rossi, what's the problem that Tom Watson has here?
Tom could have been a lot worse than he is. He has a shot of about 125 yards, has plenty of room to play it. The only problem is he's going to have to hook it a little, and the wind is coming the other way. The wind is actually coming out of the left. Lee Jansen's going to play first from 140 yards. Hole playing a little longer than the yardage because it's uphill.
Rossi, this is mentally a very comforting thing for Lee Jansen. You're playing with one of the most intimidating players in the game, certainly one of the greatest players in the game, and he's struggling a little bit, and that kind of tends to put you at ease.
Especially when you get off the kind of start that they got off. I mean, he really hasn't missed a shot. I would think he'd take an 8-iron. You don't want to put it past the flag here, Peter, do you?
No, he just he wants to put this pin high to the left. At this point, Lee Jansen is just thinking about making a par. Very quietly. Oh, ball, that might have to sit. That could come all the way back, Rossi.
Yep.
It caught a spike mark.
Another turn or so would have started to pick up speed there. Now Watson surveying it. with the coconut straw hat that has been the big favorite here this week. I guess partially because of the heat and the hot sun, but it's the new fashion, I guess. Is that right, Peter, on the tour?
Yes, I think it probably all started with Tom Kite. Tom Kite had some skin cancer taken off his face and also off the top of his head, and Tom went away from a visor and he went to the straw hat. And
guys, would you move back to?
We're losing the what do they call it? The ozone. So. Well, that harmful rays from the sun.
That may be part of it. They're encouraging all of us to stay out of the sun these days. Now.
Watson's caddy, Bruce Edwards, walked all the way up to the green to get the exact yardage. Tom has a decent lie. It's not a great lie, but it's a lie that he can play this shot. He's going to play a low shot, try and land it on the front of the green. That's in the bunker.
Yep. Put the bunker with it. And these bunkers are not the automatic up and down that the professionals play on the tour. They've mastered those, but these are different, and you'll see today and tomorrow. Easier now.
It's a 200-yard shot. Had to drive the ball left to work at this pin. I think he wants to carry the ball about 180.
Which he has done.
Paul Azinger is quietly going along, making pars and a birdie. You just got to give yourself chances. You want to hit a lot of fairways and a lot of greens in the U.S. Open.
Now Nick Price on the 6th hole, the long 470-yard par 4.
Good one.
This hole playing especially long today, straight into the wind.
2 long par 4s in a row, the 6 and 7, each of them 470 yards. Earlier we saw John Daly unleash one of his airmail specials in the 6th. Jelkovecki now, quietly moving into contention. But having a problem on this hole and dropping one. Now Watson in the bunker.
Bunker shot of about 80 or 90 feet. Very difficult shot.
And from these bunkers, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was a situation where you didn't want the ball to spin. Tom Watson is a genius at those shots. Early on in my career, I used to sit by the practice bunker and watch Tom Watson hit those shots.
Now Justin Leonard, the amateur champion, on the 12th tee. He started off very well in the first 2 rounds. He's now 4 over on today's round and for the championship.
That's a 7-iron from 171 right at the flagstick. Good looking shot.
Is it ever right at it?
He's really been struggling today, and I think it's just magnificent, though. He's played well the first 2 rounds.
Yep. Payne Stewart now on the 6th hole. Remember, this is the 470-yard par 4, one of the 2.
Both Payne Stewart and Nick Price with good drives here at number 6. Payne has 183.
Another one there, I think, bud.
You can see the players looking around from time to time, judging not only the strength of the wind, but the distance and the direction of the wind is very difficult right now. Hole locations on the front left today at 6. Not an easy place. Payne with a little bit of a side hill lie. Six iron.
Hold your line. Hold your line.
Right on the back. You don't see too many of them short of the pin on some of these holes. It just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. Lee Jansen for the birdie at the 5th hole. Leaves himself a bit of a putt. Nick Price now up on the 6th.
Nick had 170 yards, even more awkward lie than Payne
Go left,
Stewart.
little ball. Go left. Sit down. Sit down.
This is Caddy,
Sit down.
the squeaky one.
Squeaky's a talker.
Yes, he is.
That's I was thinking the 7 might.
Tom Watson for a par now.
For this early in the round, Jim, this is a big putt. This would give him a tremendous amount of confidence if he could make this one.
So that'll drop him back to 3 under. Azinger at the 7th birdie attempt. All the way around the hole.
Yeah, but it's important to watch. Paul Azinger is rolling that ball right by the lip of just about every putt he's had, which is a good sign. That means you're stroking the ball well, you're going to make some putts.
It's 1 under for the day, 2 under for the championship, and a tie for 4th place right now with Mickey Price, David Edwards, who shot 66 today, and Mike Stanley. Well, there you see the 36-hole scoring record. Lee Janzen, 134. T.C. Chen had it at Oakland Hills before he got to that final round and hit the ball twice, remember? Jack Nicklaus, 134 here at Baltusrol in 1980 for the par. Janzen. And now the words U.S. Open come into everybody's mind.
Rossi, that's an uncomfortable distance, especially when you're putting down the hill.
Well, you know, he tried to make the first one it looked like going up the hill, and left it, as you said, in a terrible spot.
I said earlier that you don't want to get careless, especially early in the round, and
You've got to let things happen later at this stage.
Bogey 5 drops him to 6 under. He's back being started after birdieing the first 2 holes. That's what happens in the U.S. Open. Janzen then by 2 over Payne Stewart, 3 over Watson, then Azinger, Price, Edwards, and Stanley. And we will be back. Springfield, New Jersey means Baltusrol to golf fans, just as Mamaroneck, New York equals Wingfoot, and Birmingham, Michigan stands for Oakland Hills. Actually, Springfield's a fully developed residential town with 13,500 residents, 20 miles west of Manhattan, and only 10 miles from Newark Airport, where some of the U.S. Open spectators are parking this week. Springfield was the scene of what historians... Aaron Jenkins is the pilot today. On the 6th tee, Lee Janzen. This was why we're away. 6th hole, 470-yard par 4, remember. And he has found the rough. So Lee Janzen started off bang, bang, birdie, birdie. But already he's lost those 2 strokes. Now Azinger in the rough on the 8th hole.
Well, he hit a 2-iron off the tee here to try to avoid the rough, and that didn't work. He's really got, well, the worst lie that I've seen today. Fortunately, only 159 yards. Could probably hit as little as an 8-iron.
Kicked off that side of that bunker there.
A shot he'll be pleased with, though, after that lie.
Sure. Payne Stewart now on the equally long 7th hole.
Get up! Payne started this drive well to the right, trying to bring it back.
But didn't come back enough. Payne got his par at 6. Still trails Lee Janzen by 2. It's those 2 battling right now. Think there's enough sand here?
The tee shot at number 7, not an easy one today. The wind's quartering from the right-hand side.
That's Mark Rolfing out on the fairway with this group. Nick Price. Okay, at the U.S. Open, you know, come these last 2 rounds, Peter, you don't watch people fight their way up the leaderboard. You watch them float up the leaderboard as everybody else comes down. Okay. 6th hole.
Lee Jansen getting ready to play his second shot. He's 204 yards. This is the first shaky drive he's hit. He not only pushed it, but he hit it pretty weak. Came off the heel of the club, well back, has a decent lie, wants to carry it about 180. It's going to take a big jump. Anything just 5 yards short of the green or just on would be great.
Counts right.
Hold your line.
Counts right. Oh my God.
Oh, that's left. That's not right.
Ball took a wicked bounce to the left.
Sure did. Okay, we'll stay here now. As Tom Watson playing with him is in 3rd place in this championship, 3 shots behind Jansen.
Watson has a shot of about 165. He's driven it just a shade too far because it's on the down slope.
No, you're too close. You really are.
Right there, but that's fine.
Thank you. That's plenty close enough. Thank you.
It's moving somebody back. Watson with his caddy, Bruce Edwards.
Wind coming out of the right.
On the green, off she goes. There's a little rise there.
Yeah. 60 front out.
Looks like he's taking a 6-iron.
Okay.
Looks like it might be left also.
All right.
That's a pretty good break there.
Well, he kept hollering, sit down, and of course then the grass grabbed it, Peter, and made it sit down. Sometimes you can talk to them. Paul Azinger, birdie attempt at the 8th hole.
From this direction, he can stroke the ball pretty freely. It's up into the slope.
Well, we haven't seen much of Fred Couples for a while. If you just joined us or joined us recently, he put his tee shot out of bounds on the 1st hole, double bogey. He's now 2 over for the championship. Needs some birdies pretty quick. If you look at the leaderboard, get you up to date, you late arrivals. It is. Okay, now Fred. Really needed it. Couples play with Mike Stanley, who is 2 under. But Fred Couples now 1 over for the championship, getting 1 back. Now the leader in trouble again at the 6th hole.
Please. Ball is sitting down just a little in the sand, as it usually does here at Paulus Raw, but this really isn't too tough of a shot. Very short bunker shot, only about 18 feet.
He can stop it all right, you think?
I believe so, Jim.
Shot, but he'll have something to survey for the par putt.
And it's still 6 or 7 feet by.
Yep. Now on the 7th, we're going to go to Payne Stewart. Second shot. It's long par 4.
He's driven the ball into the right-hand rough, has a pretty good lie, but even with a good lie and the rough not too high, stopping the ball at the 7th green is going to be difficult. The wind is right behind him. Looked like it kind of ballooned up in the air.
Hard pass now. Oh, don't kick it. Right. Oh, that ball landed in the heavy rough just over that bunker and killed it.
For Stewart in 6th place, trailing by 2 shots. That's a bit of a problem. Now Watson. Birdie that could put him into a tie for 2nd place again. It ebbs and flows. You seldom see Watson short of the hole.
Yeah, one of the keys to Tom Watson's putting when he was winning everything in sight was speed. He always wanted to make sure he hit his putt at least 2 feet by the hole to give it a chance to go in.
Now on tape, 2nd shot of Nick Price at the 7th hole. Long par 4. Nothing wrong with that one. Now, needing this for the par at 6, the leader, Lee Jansen.
Putt looks like it wants to just come to the right. Not going to come very much, but if it does anything, it's going to go to the right.
Intentional fortitude on that one.
That's a huge putt for Lee Jansen at this point. Keeps his momentum going.
Makes his par, stays 6 under, even on today's round. And on they go. Now on the par 3 9th tee, 205 yards on the scorecard, Paul Azinger.
200 yards today. Paul with a 5-iron.
Not a very good one. Payne Stewart now with his 3rd shot on the 7th hole.
Little pitch shot of about 35 yards. And it's a good one.
Yep. Payne's part every hole today so far. Now, back on the tee of the 7th hole, we have Tom Watson.
I would think this is a 3-wood today. It's downwind. Don't want to go through the fairway.
The only one of the top 5 on the leaderboard who is under par for the day is Azinger. Everybody else is either... This is a driver. Hold it. Let the cat out. Just those 3 feet into the rough can make a bit of a difference.
It's a very awkward, very awkward driving hole there. You've got to come diagonally across those bunkers. What Watson hit there was a dead straight shot. He's in the left rough, which makes you think maybe he hooked it, but he hit it dead straight off the tee.
Jansen. Okay. Watson just 1 over through 6 holes. That's better than he's been doing in the first 2 rounds. On the 7th through the 18th holes, Watson has been 8 under, so watch out for him from here on. Now Payne Stewart to continue his par series on the 3rd round. Par at every hole. As he surveys it, before he putted, this was Nick Price's birdie attempt playing with him. Now back to Payne live for the par. Okay, he's down. He's parred every hole so far. And he's just 2 shots out of the lead. Payne Stewart, winner in 1991. And they're the leaders with Central Park in New York just behind. That's about 16 miles as the crow flies. The towers of Manhattan surrounding a beautiful patch of green. We'll be back with more golf action from the 1993 U.S. Open after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
And he's pulled this ball to the left, headed toward the bunker.
And that's where it is. Okay, Payne Stewart bunkered now on the short par 4. You see a highway out there. You don't want to be too far left. Now on the 10th, Fred Couple, second shot. The 10th hole, 454-yard par 4. Okay.
Couple's coming off a birdie on 9.
Yep.
Trying to sneak his way back into contention.
Now the leader's second shot.
From 175 with a 7-iron downwind.
It's a long ways from the hole. The good thing about Lee Janzen's game, if there's anything that can come out of this, is he's done it all. He's made some birdies. He's had to chip it out of the rough. He's had some short putts to make. He's missed a short putt. He's kind of involved in his round on the 7th hole already.
Nick Price.
All right. Come on,
Trying to beg it to come back a little. Won't do it. Now Watson on the 7th hole, second shot, long par 4.
It's from 170. Get up. Shooting a little on him.
And it's going to run a bit.
You got it on?
Oh, yeah. All the way off the back. You can always see the players squinting as you do on a steamy, sultry summer day like we have here. In fact, we have severe thunderstorm warnings until 8 o'clock tonight. At the moment, it looks okay if you look at the sky. But things come up pretty quickly in the summer here in the east. Again, a look at the leaderboard. Mike Stanley's still out there. Remember, he's only made the turn. He's 1 under. Keep an eye on him. To the 8th hole and the second shot of Nick Price.
It's only a 110-yard shot, but the ball's sitting down in the rough. He needs to try and take it in high over the front bunker.
He did. Payne Stewart played before him, as you could see the other ball there. We'll take a look at Payne Stewart's shot.
Payne drew a perfect lie in the fairway bunker, maybe as good a lie as I've seen all week at Baltusrol. He had 138 yards. This ball comes out with a lot of spin.
Yeah, it sure did. You don't see that often at Baltusrol. The ball is actually backing up an inch or 2. Now Janzen at the 7th hole, long birdie attempt. Comes. Good putt. Now Watson played before him. We'll show that to you.
Watson playing very quickly. He really wasn't away, but he wanted to come up.
So that shot for the par. 10th hole, second shot of Paul Azinger.
Very hard shot. Out of the rough, he has to hit it high, move it left to right. From 200 yards, he had his work cut out for him there.
Yep, and we'll have it cut out for him again. Watson for the par at 7. 11 years after his one Open triumph, he's back again. Oh dear. It'll drop in to 2 under and 2 over on today's round. So it drops into a tie with Nick Price and David Edwards, who shot 66 earlier today, much earlier. Now Azinger. Now this is Stewart. Wayne Stewart on the 8th hole. Azinger, of course, up ahead.
Coming up the hill, should turn to his left. One of the things we've seen already this morning about Payne Stewart's putting is he just lacks speed. He's had some putts on line, but with a little more hit, with a little more oomph, he would have made a few more putts.
That one was just about to break, wasn't it, when it stopped?
Just not enough hit.
Jansen made his putt. So it's Jansen by 2 over Stewart right now, by 4 over Watson, Price, and David Edwards. As we said, David Edwards is floating up that board.
Yeah, David Edwards went out. We said earlier that you have a different mindset when you tee off early in the 3rd round. You've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to gain. As Mike Donald had a good round today. Mike Donald shooting 67 today.
Well, these guys are still out here. Nick Price with a birdie attempt at the 8th.
Different angle putt than Payne Stewart. Should break slightly to his left.
There's the break, but a little short.
Again, the speed.
Now back on the tee, Lee Jansen on the same hole.
Beauty.
Okay.
Because of the condition of the golf course this week, Rossi, we're seeing a lot of long tee shots.
Ball just goes so far, Peter. Everybody's driving 300 at 17 and 18.
I remember back in 1980 when we played here, we had a week of rain, and these par 4s were all driving long irons. Back in 1980, Bob, we couldn't reach the 18th green until it was so wet.
That's right.
Speaking of big tee shots, Tom Watson out there. A look at the leaderboard again. Jensen by 2 over Stewart, and there you see the rest. And ready with an observation or 2, or maybe even more, Jack Whitaker.
Thank you, Jim. This is just about this club of Baltusrol, and it's over 90 years of existence. It's had 9 professionals, but 3 of them span 76 years. George Lowe from Carnoustie, Scotland, came here and stayed for 22 years. George was the moving force behind the founding of the PGA of America. He was also the father of George Lowe, Jr., noted American sportsman and putting instructor. Then in the middle of the Depression came Johnny Farrell to Baltusrol. Johnny Farrell was a considerable golfer. In 1927, he won 7 tournaments in a row, a record that stood until Byron Nelson hit 11 in a row in 1945. And in 1928, Johnny Farrell defeated Bobby Jones for the United States Open Championship in a 36-hole playoff in Chicago. Johnny was a great putter, a natty dresser, and a very imaginative teacher. For example, in order to illustrate the importance of rhythm and tempo to his pupils in the golf swing, he would hum the Merry Widow Waltz. Listen. Doesn't that give you the real feel of a golf swing? Do that, and watch today hum it as you watch Payne Stewart or Freddie Couples. Well, Johnny stayed here for 38 years before he retired to Florida.
Today's professional, Bob Ross, has been here for 16 years. Bob is a great player, a marvelous teacher, and probably the best merchandiser in the world. The Baltusrol Golf Shop is a must-see. So Baltusrol, I guess we can safely say, is a place very pleasant at which to work. And speaking of work, may I introduce to you a man who roams the networks of the world with the grand insouciance, never out of work, always well-informed, our Peter Rallis.
Well, that's very kind of you, Jack.
Peter, you have pros like that over in England.
We do.
I'm sure your father was a club pro.
They only have MC Hammer records, though.
Yes.
So your swings get a
That'll
bit
make you shank.
Well, it's a good day. It's the third round, and we've already seen some very interesting stuff going on. I'm fascinated to watch young Jensen and see how he controls his emotions and games today. And Payne Stewart, who had an unhappy 20 minutes, a couple of weeks ago at Memorial, when he all but had a very fine tournament won, and it just slipped through his fingers. So there's much to see and much to admire today. And, well, Jensen, although he's toed and froed a bit, is still 2 strokes ahead of the field. And this man at 4 under is his nearest challenger.
Payne Stewart with a 5-iron at the 9th.
Now, speaking of young Jensen, here he is on the 8th.
He hit an iron off the tee. Be sure he caught the fairway. He has 131 yards. Just a nice, smooth 9-iron.
Now, Nick Price.
Oh, cut it. Nicky Price over the top a little bit on this shot. It's headed left.
It is left. Close it down.
And he did just stopped on the edge of the green.
Little breeze up there. That the flag is hanging limp, but up in the air, they were playing against the wind.
Here's the 8th hole, Baltusrol, 374 yards. The road on the left-hand side, and out of bounds, of course, and the big bunkers, 3 of them down the left. And for this fine championship, a fairly generous width of fairway, and the green slightly angled. But again, you see a vast amount of sand lurking for the unwary. Now, the 10th hole, Paul Azinger, 3rd shot.
Nice lie here, a little upslope, plenty of green to work with. Should get this close.
Yeah, it's a nice shot. Very nice playing indeed from Azinger, who's playing very steady stuff this afternoon. It's interesting, you see, no player in the last 9 groups is under par for the day. There are 12 at 13 or so players who have beaten the score of par. We've had a 66 or 2. Everyone who made the cut score is now going by at the bottom of your picture, and the hole they're on is on the right-hand side. This is the cumulative figure for the holes played so far. In the picture, Tom Watson, who has played a couple of, well, he's played one very bad tee shot, and he's misjudged or just been a little unfortunate to go through a couple of greens. This for a birdie. Just too much speed, just a fraction, but that's a very good putt. Tom really just needs to steady himself a little bit now. He was one of the most experienced players out here. Now the 9th, Nick Price, just off the green.
He's chosen a very lofted club for this shot. Looks like a sand wedge. Evidently going to try and pitch it up in the air onto the green.
4-footers, but the greens are so good. They're firm. They're not spiked up at all so far, and the ball seems to be running very smoothly, not bouncing about very much. Now the 8th, Lee Jensen, who I think has done very well. If you'd said to him before he went out, would you settle to be a level par standing on the 8th for your round today, I'm sure he would have snapped your hand off. So he's doing all right. Just for a birdie. There you are. He's doing all right. Goes to 7 under, now 3 strokes ahead of the field. 3 strokes, in fact, in front of this man, Payne Stewart, who's 1 hole ahead at the 9th.
Payne's got about 35 feet here, and Peter Jacobson mentioned earlier he's had trouble with the speed on the putts today. Nearly every putt's come up short.
Tom Watson tapped in at the 8th for his par. Yes, and again Payne Stewart comes up short. He's just a little bit, perhaps a little tentative on the greens, a little shy, thinks they're a little bit quicker than they are, but there's plenty of time for him yet. Nick Price at the 9th, and all missing for a par. Every one of these shots counts as much as a John Daly drive. And at the end of the week, if you've missed a few, they can be very expensive. Now here is John Daly at the 14th, so he's putting for a par. Oh, shot gone for John. He's had quite an adventurous round today. Now. Lee Jensen.
200 yards with a 4-iron. Flag stick right out in the middle of the green today.
A little unfortunate. Might have just got a little bit more run out of that and taken it up to the flag, but nicely on the green. If he keeps hitting the greens and not doing anything silly, he could well stay 3 strokes ahead. Now, Tom Watson, who's been slightly untidy in a way today. He looks to be, the old shirt looks a bit damp. He was sweating up in the paddock before we went off, so he's needs the old hat, needs a bit of a water cooler, I think, just to soothe him down a bit.
1 bad drive, 2 short putts, Peter.
Yep. Nice shot. You can't beat hitting the fairways and hitting the greens, particularly at championship time. Now to the 10th, Payne Stewart.
With an iron. A very awkward driving hole.
Well, that's the cardinal sin, of course, to take an iron from a tee for safety and then put it into trouble, block it away on the right. You might just as well blast it with a driver and hopefully get further down the fairway. 454 yards, a good par 4. You can see the fairway fairly straight. It just sneaks its way through some of these lovely trees that abound here at Baltusrol. Bunker on the left, overhanging tree on the right. Just ever so slightly raised green at the end, very slightly, almost at fairway level, and the narrow neck in the front, which is a feature of many holes here on this fine course. Here's Price. Finds the fairway nicely. Very quick player, Nick Price. Just 1-2 waggles and away it goes.
Now here at the 11th, Fred Couples. This was a little earlier. In trouble. Third shot. Miles left of the green, and it sounded as if he half-skinned that, half-topped it, or he tried to knock it into the bank. I don't know. We couldn't see, but you can see it's gone through the green, and he dropped a stroke now. Azinger.
He's got some very thick rough just off the fairway. He has 180 yards. Got as much of it as he could, hoping to run it in.
And he's just done that.
He might disagree with people who say the rough isn't too bad here this week. That was pretty bad.
Well, he's chased it onto the green. He's level with the flag. He's probably 60 feet away, but he's on the green. He threaded it through the bunkers there beautifully. Billy Andrade also off the fairway, Judy.
Well, very near to where Paul was. You have to either run it turning left or get it over the edge of these trees. Billy got in trouble with a double bogey back at the 7th, but he's just birdied the 10th, trying to fight his way back.
Well, you saw what happened there, just stopped. Nice. Now the 16th, Craig Parry. One under par, one under for the championship, and well, although 6 strokes behind Jensen, in not bad shape, but shots like that won't do him much good, particularly when he's missed it on the side of the green where the flag is. Not a good shot. Now after dropping a stroke at the 11th, here's Couples at the 12th. Long short hole. Fred's really had an in and out, up and down round today. He was striking the ball beautifully on the practice ground. First tee shot out of bounds. Now the 10th, Payne Stewart, second shot.
195 yards from a thickish lie in the rough. He'll try and scoot this ball toward the center of the green.
Right when you hit. All right, Payne, good shot. It's on the green.
Well, he's got it on the green. Now here's the big fella. 12th tee, Mike Stanley. 1 over. Playing with Fred Couples.
Get up, ready. Get up. Oh, good, man.
Oh, could be a 1. Second shot at the 10th for Nick Price.
180 yards from the center of the fairway.
Oh, that's a superb shot. One under for the championship, 2 over for today. Again, untidy playing from one of the neatest of golfers. Jensen at the 9th.
About 35 feet going up the hill.
Now the 11th, Billy Andrade. Third shot. Well, that's coming in beautifully. The 9th now, Tom Watson. This to get him back to 3 under par. It's good. It's one of those days. He's had a couple of them. He's missed 2 short putts, and he's had a couple that have sat right on the edge of the cup. But he's tied for 3rd place, and Danny Edwards, who came in almost before some of the field got up, is moving ever towards the top of the leaderboard. He is 2 under par for the championship, 4 under today, a 66. Now, Jensen, can he get this in for his par?
Yeah.
Looks simple enough. Yes, nicely done. He's kept his composure. He started off beautifully with 2 birdies and then dropped a shot. Now the 12th couples for a birdie. You never know with Fred. He can hold long putts and the short ones. 10th tee now, Jensen.
He's only missed 1 fairway today. That's good playing.
Well, 9 holes safely negotiated. To the left, the hole goes away to the right. Now Watson. And it'll be just okay. And ahead of them, Payne Stewart on the green with this long putt.
Very difficult putt to judge the speed on.
Well, he judged that one very well. It's one of the few putts he's got past the hole today.
Really hit that one with some authority for the first time today.
Yeah. Now up ahead again at the 11th, Azinger for a par. Don't count them when you hold them for pars. Just a par. Back we'll go to the 10th.
You referred to Nick Price's untidy play on the front side. It was all around the greens, Peter. He only missed 1 of the greens in regulation. That was the 9th. He missed it by about 2 feet, and yet he shot 2 over par.
Yes, if he has a problem, it's basically more putts of this distance. He's used, I think, more putters than me, but it looks safe and sensible enough. That happens to him an awful lot of times. Why, I really don't know. Bit hard on that occasion, I suppose, but the one slipping away. And you can't afford to do that. Round she goes. Paul Azinger after that. Good putt at the 11th for a par. Here he is.
Great 2-putt, huh, Peter?
Oh, tremendous.
171 yards here, an 8-iron. This hole's playing pretty short today.
Good shot. Some balls seem to check. Some balls seem to spin on, depending on where they land. Here's Tom Watson, second to the 10th.
178 yards with a 6-iron.
Right on line, just wanted 1 more bounce. Again, the ball stopping a little quicker than one might have thought it would. There's the giant scoreboard. Just by the side of the 18th green. Jensen at the 10th, second shot.
That was from 165. Little right. Neither of those balls bounced forward very much, Peter.
No, that one just pitched in the rough at the back of the bunker, Bob, and killed it stone dead, but they could both have done with a little bit more. Now, this was earlier. Ian Baker Finch at the 18th. This for a birdie. Level par. Drifting away. I'll give him that one now. Jensen at the 10th. Little chip from the edge of the green. Just came up the ridge slightly on the wrong side. It didn't work its way back to the hole. Perfect for distance. And again, one of those tested little putts. But when you look at the surface of the green, they're holding up very well. Very few spike marks. This is the radar screen in the blimp, and we are being alerted that there is in fact thunder and a storm and all sorts of nasty things approaching. Now, whether they'll swing around or whether we will get a storm, whether we will have some delay, that's in the lap of the gods. It certainly doesn't look all that healthy at the moment. A big blob there coming towards us, but hopefully whoever's in charge of the blob enjoys a bit of golf and will stay out of our way. Watson now, this longish putt over the ridge at the 10th for a birdie. Over she comes, down she rolls. Well, that's well judged from there. Very easy to race it a missable distance past. Price at the 11th, second shot.
Excellent angle at the flagstick from the right-hand side of the fairway.
Yeah, come on.
Sure. Obviously online, and a good-looking shot from his end. He's probably wondering why the crowd aren't all excited at that end. Now, Azinger, 12th. Well, he held one about that length for a par on the last.
He's got 152, not nearly as good an angle as Nick. Very high shot. Looks like it's coming down fairly soft.
Well, you see that one landed and stopped. Beautifully marked. 10th, Jensen for a par. So far, that stroke is standing up to things quite beautifully. 3 in the lead, just keeps bobbing along. Not so many holes left, young fella, and who knows? Who knows indeed? Lee Jensen leading the way, and I think I said Danny Edwards, but of course David Edwards it was. David Edwards who came in with that. Nick Price on the 11th. Oh yes. Oh no. Oy vey, whatever that means. The 17th hole, Craig Parry. 17th, third shot. What a good shot it is. Wow, would you believe that? Tremendous shot from Parry. 11th, James Stewart for a birdie. And he drifts away. That's the first green we've seen with a little discoloration so far this afternoon. Looks a little bit stressed, a little hot. But generally speaking, the colour of the greens, the colour of the whole course has been very, very Sherwood greeny. Very pleasant. So Jensen's still 3 strokes ahead of Payne Stewart and 5 ahead of the rest, but the field gradually coming back. Jensen can hold his position Well, he'll rest easy tonight. So a couple of pars. They move away. Behind them, final pair. Watson, Jensen. Jensen in a spot of bother, is he?
Well, he's not bad. He has a pretty good line of rough. He has 190 yards to the hole into the wind, which is kicking up just a little as the storm gets closer. He hit it over in the right-hand rough yesterday and made a 3, and that was the turning point of his round, as he also birdied 12 and 13 after that. I think he'd take a 4-iron, try and land it just short of the green, because it is going to jump a little.
Well, there you get a good view from the camera behind the green. There's the bunker in the middle of the fairway. He's got to negotiate that. Really, it's the middle of the green job. It's a line it up, try and make a nice clean contact, hit it straight, and hope for the best.
Mega flyer.
Yeah. Softly.
Well, he got a flyer, but it wasn't the sort of flyer you've seen. Far worse ones than that. That could have taken off at about 100 miles an hour. It did slow down a little bit. Hazing at the 13th now, second shot.
Pitching wedge out of the rough. Pretty good lie, though. 135 yards. Sounded good, and it looks good.
See that coming out of the rough. Stop nicely for him, give him a chance for a birdie. Now out to the 12th and Payne Stewart.
Yeah, you're good, Payne.
Payne looking up at the sky a moment ago somewhat anxiously. It's a little bit dark out here right now, and they have posted the weather warning sign on the scoreboard next to the 11th green. Payne with an 8-iron here. 171 yards.
That's a big 8, Mark, eh? These boys, wrists like wire horses.
The hole's been playing downwind, but there's almost no wind at all now.
Well, a magnificent shot. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, I like it. Good, thank you.
There's the weather warning going up on the scoreboards of the United States Golf Association, and all the other sporting associations are very concerned these days about the weather and lightning. We've had some tragedies over the years, both spectators and players. Caution is the word.
Oh, got it. Nick Price with an 8-iron also, headed toward the center of the green.
So nicely onto the green. While that was going on, this is on videotape, Tom Watson at the 11th. Oh, well.
He was up pretty close to that lip, Peter, and tried to get a little too brave.
Yeah, just killed it, Bobby.
Yeah, just hit the thing and jumped. Almost like a overspin thrown ball.
Yeah. 13th, Paul Azinger for a birdie after that. Fine shot into the green. We started to turn too late. Misread that one. Back to the 11th, Tom Watson third.
From about 110.
Looks good. Well, might still get his par 4. The powers of recovery of the players now, tremendous. Absolutely lovely playing, but a little bit untidy, a little bit rough at the edges. But it's still pretty exciting. Lee Jensen 3 strokes ahead of Payne Stewart. Tom Watson, the gaggle following on behind, and we're going over to Jack Whittaker, who's got another Jack with him. Wonder who it can be.
We've got a pair of Jacks we can open here. Jack Nicklaus, who's made the cut for the 30-something time in the U.S. Open here. How was it out there today, Jack? Conditions of the course, etc.
Well, I'm an awkward one to ask, I think, Jack. I played terrible, but the golf course is actually, if you play well, you should shoot a good score today. The golf course is not very tough. There's not much wind. The greens are holding. They're not extremely fast. The rough hasn't been deep all week. It's not any deeper, obviously, today. The golf course is there if you play good golf, and nobody seems to be going after it.
Most of the players indicate that they love the way this is set up. Do you agree that the driver is back in your hand here, and you have every shot in the bag?
I only used, other than a driver, on maybe 2 holes. I used a 3-wood to start off with, and a 2-iron at the second hole. But after that, I hit driver every hole, and the golf course is set up beautifully. It allows you to play golf. I know they'd like the rough to be a little bit tougher, but you can't really stop a ball out of the rough if you get a bad lie. If the wind's blowing, but the wind's not blowing, so the guys are just, they're just be able to throw anything they want at it.
Okay, let's have you by us here as we go out to the golf. We may get a little change with this weather coming in. Peter?
Lee Jensen just playing a little chip from the back of the green and playing it. There could be... Oh, just the right shot where he wanted it, just to steady the nerves. That wasn't the easiest of shots for the young man to play, and he's put it absolutely stone dead. Leader by 3. He's only a foot or so away, so he must get his par here. Now, can Tom Watson get his par? There you see it. The hole on the right. Quickly to Nick Price at the 12th for a birdie. He's given that a race. This is maybe a touch of frustration. He's hit the ball well. He's fiddled about round the greens, had a couple of spin outs. Now Watson for his par at the 11th.
Really can't afford to let Jansen pull away any farther. He's just inching away from him.
Oh, that was a Watson of old, Rossi. The putter taken back smoothly and pushed through, and the ball actually running into the hole. Beautifully struck putt. Now from about 12, 14 inches. Jensen gets his par, another hole safely negotiated. On they go to the 12th. Quick look up at the sky. It's not too bad. We're by the 18th green, but it's been a sort of hazy, heavy day. Now the 12th green, Payne Stewart. Spirit of Noel Coward lives on. Craig Perry now at the 18th. He's suddenly emerged up the leaderboard. 1 under par now for the championship. Half a dozen strokes behind Jensen, but early on today he was well back. Played for many years on the European Tour, and the Europeans, having done so well over the last 10 years, not in this particular championship apart from Nick Faldo, not really figuring either here this week. It's a big shot. That's away into the trap. Because Ian Woosnam had a good run at the championship, but no way you can compare it to the success they've had at the Masters at Augusta. And this morning, well, some of the big names didn't qualify, and Woosnam and Faldo were just sort of, well, they were over par, round about par, and not really firing on all cylinders. But this fellow, if he can get a 4 on the last hole, will be in with a shout. Now, whilst he was walking up the 18th, this was Price. Remember, he raced his first putt well past, but got that one in, just to steady things down a bit, but he's a bit cross. He doesn't get cross very often. They move away now, and it's Lee Jensen. Final pair, Ian Watson.
171 downwind.
Lee, what you say, baby?
I know.
Well, he's on the green, but a mighty long way from the hole. Once you get so far away, you really just mentally should be settling for 2 putts, I fancy. If it falls in, good luck to you now, Watson.
Tom's hit a lot of good iron shots today.
What will he be hitting here, Bob, do you think?
I believe he has a 7-iron in his hand.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, the way that went up in the air, it might have been an 8, Peter.
You're quite right, Bob. He has played some very good ones. He hasn't hit all that many poor shots, but the ones he has mishit have been very costly. But a chance for a 2 here at the 12th. Now we're up to the 14th. Paul Azinger, second shot.
Just hit a tremendous, perfect drive right down the center. He only has 115 to the hole. Avoided a great big divot by a millimeter or so, and ball's sitting well.
Yes, another good shot. So far, the weather's keeping away from us, but how long, I don't know. 13th now, Payne Stewart.
It's awful dark over at this corner of the golf course. Payne has played 12 holes. He's made 12 pars. Another good tee shot here.
An aerial view of this 13th hole, just over 400 yards. You can see the fairway just swings a little bit round to the right. A large bank, little stream wanders across the fairway and takes off down the right-hand side. So if you cut your tee shot wildly, you can find that. And then up to the green, framed with the trees on the left, and that big snaky bunker down the right. A nice hole. Now what's? Oh, sorry. Young Nick Price.
Go, Mitch.
18th, Craig Perry. Third shot. Didn't quite give it a very awkward place down there today with the flag where it is. Quite a bit below the level of the green. The grandstands round the 18th now are empty. No spectators at all. They've been advised to leave because of the possible storm. Now back to our leader at the 12th.
From about 40 feet coming up the hill. Not a real hard putt to judge. It's all a lot of little hidden breaks here at Baltusrol. They're not tremendously sloped greens, say like Oakland Hills or Oakmont, but there's a lot of little subtle breaks in them, and they're kind of hard to read.
Very interesting scoring statistics. The second half, or the last third of the field, finding it very difficult to get birdies, and up she goes over the top. Good speed. Oh, it's beautiful. Wonderful putt. And at the far end of the course, we hear it's just beginning to splatter with rain a little bit. That's a good 2-putt. All the metal paraphernalia around and about golf courses these days, and with golf clubs and spike shoes and things, it's not the best of places to be. I suppose there are umbrellas made without any metal in, but I don't know whether I've ever seen one. Now Watson. chance goes a-begging. Only a 3. Chance to nip one back there. He might have thought at one time he could have pinched 2. Amazing at 14th for a birdie. He too is shaving the edge of the hole. He's going to stay at 1 under for the championship. 13th, Payne Stewart's second shot.
125 yards center of the fairway pitching wedge. And this one looks good.
Be the right one.
It's the right one, all right. This could be his first birdie of the day. 11 pars he's had. And that's mighty good playing when those 11 holes consist only of 3s and 4s. Now the 18th, Craig Parry, is 4 shot. Needs a little chip and a putt. Steady. Jensen at the 13th. That's a good drive. Now Watson. Tom's pulled another one, and it's going to be on the downslope in what looked like fairly heavyish rough, but he hasn't got far to go. He may well be able to chase it up onto the green from there. Back to the 18th. Parry's gone 12 feet past this for a par. It's a confident putt. By golly, that rattled in. Not sure whether he meant to hit it quite as hard as that. 13th, Nick Price for a birdie.
He really needs to get one of these in to get going.
He heard you. Amazing what 1 or 2 putts will do for the temperament and the nerve ends. He seems to have dropped strokes by the handful, but he's still there. Very much there. Payne Stewart now.
Well, I heard you mention they'd evacuated the grandstands there at the 18th. The people are still in the stands out here, and it's quite a bit darker here than it is where you are.
Well, they've all gone from this end, Mark. Just 2 behind. Ooh. There's the empty stands at the 18th. Just on the left-hand side, there's another one behind the green. Evacuated. And, well, that birdie of Payne Stewart's takes him to within 2 strokes of Lee Jensen, Tom Watson, Nick Price, and David Edwards, who had a fine round earlier, 66. Now Scott Hoke, who was one of the first round leaders, level par, second shot 14th. .415 yards, 14th hole, and wow. Well, Scott Hoke has been so near on 2 or 3 occasions for winning a major championship, and he's kept going pretty well. Here's a look at the 14th, 415 yards, as I said, down the fairway. Just snakes a little bit. It's almost straight. The fairway just winds away, giving it a nice definition, nice bunkering. And of course, with so many beautiful trees here on the course, it really is a delightful place to wander about. Good drive. So Payne Stewart becomes only the second player to get past the 4 under par barrier this week. Jensen at 7 under, Stewart at 5 under. Nobody else has got past the magic figure of 4. There you see the 14th tee just a step or two away from the previous green. Another super drive. And Lee Jensen at the 13th, second shot.
Perfect drive, 140 yards, perfect angle. I think you'll get this one close.
Get back. Get back there.
Yes, fine shot. And before Jensen played his second shot, it was Tom Watson's turn.
Out of a pretty bad lie with the ball down below his feet.
Drove it through, chased it up, and it'll just go off the back of the green. Not bad at all. Well, we'll be back with more golf action from the 1993 US Open Championship after this message and word from our ABC.
Back at the third round of the United States Open, I'm Brent Musburger. A pleasure to welcome in Jack Nicklaus. So far, the story has been Lee Janzen. He started today, the second round leader. He went birdie, bogeyed 2 of the next 3. And if you're looking for a turning point, it was the 8th hole. He came flashing back with a birdie. He now stands at 7 under par, Jack.
Doing pretty well.
The young man holds on to that lead with a par, and before that, it was Watson's chip. At the 14th, this is Price, his second shot.
121 yards straight downwind. The front of this 14th green is very firm.
He's got plenty of room to stop it there, as you can see. It's even though it's firm, a good high shot out of the fairway, stopping easily there.
At the 15th, Azinger's second.
Inside of 150 yards. Looks as though he's taking a 9-iron. Going to try to play maybe even a little shot with it, and he started this ball way left.
Get the bunk.
Oh, nice bounce, perhaps. We'll see how he fares with that.
But that was an uncharacteristic Azinger shot. He sort of held on to it. His body never got out of the way.
Now second, 14, Stewart.
From 113 yards.
This was a wonderful story. The amateur champion, Justin Leonard, struggled a bit today. This for birdie at the finishing 18th. So great, Jack, to see an amateur come here and play well in the U.S. Open. There in the 14th tee, our leader, Lee Janzen.
I think this young man's got terrific timing in his golf swing, his putting stroke, and just wonderful rhythm right on through it. It's I think he's just starting. You're just starting to hear of Lee Janzen. I think you're going to hear a lot more from him.
Interesting, Jack. He was the co-leader at Augusta after shooting a 67 in the first round, then faded way back. Determined today not to fade back, and went out and started off birdie. Good stuff. Now Watson. Now on videotape, let's go back to Paul Azinger's problems.
This was a plenty tough little pitch. Grass was matted down under the ball, no green to work with.
At least he's pitching up into it, Judy.
This is for birdie for Price at 14. How did he miss that? Now back to Azinger. Now here's Stewart trying to put together back-to-back birdies. Back of Janzen. So let's go back to Azinger. This is for bogey at 15.
Well, what a shame not to take advantage here. He had hit a perfect drive. Couldn't have been better.
It's an awfully long one, wasn't it, Judy?
It was.
So we go up to John Daly, finishing 18th. He took his tee shot and hit it into the rough at 17. Didn't have an opportunity to reach that green in 2 like he did yesterday. This is for Eagle at 18. The big fellow's got other things besides just the long drives.
He's got a wonderful touch. He's got, he knows how to play golf. He knows how to control it, lay up when you have to lay up. But I think that he may get caught up a little bit sometimes, too much in what people want him to do rather than what he should do. But I mean, I think the man's got a tremendous amount of talent, and I think as time goes on, I think he's going to become a much better player.
So for the day, John Daly, +2 on the round, and at 14, second shot for our leader.
Very short shot off the tee. He has 160 yards left. The ball's sitting up in the rough. He could hit it with a driver if he wanted to. It's going to jump.
Keep working. No, not that way. Get up there. Get up there. On the green. All right. Okay. All right, Jack. Okay, kick to the right.
Jack, so far he has 12 birdies and 5 bogeys overall in the competition.
He's a pretty steady player. 5 bogeys for a leader, though, is quite a few bogeys in the U.S. Open on this type of golf course. You know, I think he's a good, solid player and a good, steady player, and he's played an awfully nice shot right there just to get it on the green.
At 14, Watson second.
Hit a tremendous drive. Has 105 yards into the hole. Slightly uphill lie. Should be able to spin it pretty well.
16. Here's Azinger.
Well, it's 218 and Paul can hit it a long way. At times. This is a 5-iron.
Come on. Come on.
Let's go back to the 15th. Here's Price.
Nick started this one down the left-hand side, cutting back toward the center.
Before Price, it was Stewart. Take a look at this on videotape.
He's driven the ball magnificently all week. I've been out with him all 3 days. Swing, thanks. And this was another good one here.
Page changed his swing a little bit, don't you think, Mark?
I think so, Jack. Really, he seems to be a little more aggressive with the driver than I've seen him. In Columbus a couple weeks ago, he drove it really well also.
Well, yeah, but he looks like he's almost got it laid off at the top and swinging under it more instead of having the toe open at the top and swinging, closing it. It's a little different. The 15th hole is into the wind. They drive the ball about 160 yards short of the green here, and then the green is surrounded by bunkers, but there's a very sharp slope on the front part of the green. You must get the ball at least 15 yards on the green, or otherwise it has a chance of rolling back off the front. You know, Payne has been taking his hands out just a little bit as he takes it away. Can you see his hands out, and he's got the club a little bit. That's a pretty good position there. It's not quite as open as he used to be, but that's a pretty square position. But he's swinging underneath the ball very, very well here, and sort of holds on. And I didn't recall Payne playing that way a couple of years ago, but by gosh, he's really playing well right now. And whatever he's doing, he ought to just keep doing it.
And so too should Lee Jansen. Boldly ran that one past, didn't he? And now while we watch our leader work alphabetically the entire field, what they've completed over on the right, largest number of competitors in U.S. Open Championship history today, 88 playing the last 2 rounds. Watson, possible birdie here. He has 6 consecutive pars. Par 3 16th, Azinger with a birdie possibility.
Well, to give you a good idea of what a makeable birdie putt this is, the hole's cut just 5 paces from the right edge of the green, so it's inside of 15 feet.
That's a pretty flat putt, Judy. There's not a whole lot there. I can't tell from here which way it's going to break, but it's certainly a very, very makeable putt from there.
Back to Jansen at 14.
Watch the pace of this young man's stroke. Not many players take a stroke this smooth and this slow.
Jackie's had that pace all day.
He's had it all his life.
Wow. Stays at 7 under. Starting to relax. He was out last night at 8:30. Still putting all alone over there on the practice green. At 15, Stewart giving chase. Two back at Jansen. This is his second.
Payne's got 153 yards. As Jack mentioned, you need to get the ball well up onto this green. Almost no wind at all out here right now.
Best side is to be just a little left of the hole if you can possibly put it there. That's not quite as bad as it looks from back there. It's, I don't know what kind of lie that is. It looks like it's down a little bit, but he's still got plenty of green to be able to stop that ball.
Before that on tape, here's Price.
Oh, shoved it. Get up.
That's okay.
Good spot, man.
It's the third round of the 93rd U.S. Open. Lee Jansen is our leader. Lee Jansen, the leader on the 15th tee. Nick Price up on the green ahead is for a birdie.
I think Nick got fooled a little bit about the pace of that putt. Normally it's pretty fast from there, and it just sort of didn't seem to go for him.
Now before that, on tape, this is Stewart.
I said Payne had plenty of room to stop it here. He played a nice little chip.
So Nick Price, Payne Stewart, both trying to give chase here. Stewart played the front nine, level par, finally birdied the 13. John Adams, interesting, he hit the first shot at this U.S. Open back on Thursday morning, and he's sitting in the clubhouse right now at 1 under par. One of the long hitters. We talk about John Daly, who's averaged about 290 plus yards on the two holes that they measure here. Well, Adams goes out at about 285 yards. Here's Price now for his par.
Good putt.
Payne's probably got a right edge putt here. It's shouldn't be too difficult a putt for Payne. The only problem with a putt like that, you have a tendency to either knock it through the break or not hit it hard enough and it'll break off pretty quickly. But I think Payne knows pretty much what he's doing. Pretty solid, isn't it?
Now back in the fairway, our leader and Tom Watson are both coming up.
Lee Jansen has 165 yards to the hole. Don't want to knock it over this green, Jack. I think he probably takes some kind of a 7 on, although you do have to carry it up into the green, don't you?
It's a parade.
You want to carry it up in the green, Jack, don't you, here? It will spin back if you don't get it up there.
Yeah, the problem is that it's pretty flat up by the hole, Ross. If you carry it all the way up, as did Payne Stewart, it bounced on over. Now, you really want to keep the ball under the hole here. The pin's far enough back that you still have room underneath the hole. When I mean underneath the hole, I mean short of it or even a little bit to the left of it. It's the best place to be.
I think a 7-iron is the shot here.
did the same thing Payne did.
Up at 16, Scott Hoke, this for a birdie. Watson second at 15.
130 yards. After a 305-yard drive.
He's really hitting some long ones, isn't he, Rossi?
The ball's going so far this week, I can have trouble believing it, Jack. Everybody's driving 300 yards.
I found that all week long, I'm playing one less club than I have at any other time I can think of. I'm sure all the other fellows are doing the same thing. 150 yards, it's always an 8 or a 9 iron. 175 yards instead of a 5 iron. This week it's a 6 or 7. I don't understand why the darn thing is doing that, but it's. I think it's just the heat out here, and it's just the ball is just hot this week, and some weeks it goes that way. I remember when we were here in 1980, prior to the tournament. The golf course played really long, and then all of a sudden it got warm during the tournament, and the same thing happened in 1980. All of a sudden, the course got short and the ball went a long way. That was a nice shot there. That was tough to get the ball anywhere near that hole today. Payne's got a fairly good chance for birdie here, obviously, and it's not a very difficult putt.
That green is the...
Well, now it appears that perhaps some of the warning signs have come down when you look back at that picture. It looks like some of the folks might have been, or perhaps they're just following the leaders around here, but so far, Mother Nature's been kind to us. Here's Price now.
218 yards, the 16th playing today.
Well, this is two different rhythms, isn't it? Payne Stewart and Nick Price. Nicky's quick and short and very strong through the ball. Payne is long and flowing.
It's an interesting contrast, but the results are pretty similar.
Yeah, the results are good. Both are wonderful players.
Let's go back to our leader at 15.
Jansen's played a couple of wonderful little shots around the greens. This is where you can really tell if your nerves hold up, and they have held up remarkably well for Lee today.
Shouldn't be a very difficult shot, should it, Rossi?
No, I think he's got plenty of room, and he has a decent lie.
And he's playing up against the green.
Right.
On that one for him. That was not his tempo.
At the 17th, Hasinger second.
Well, he's going to take a middle iron and just lay up, but he had the driver out for a while. He was tempted to get as close as he could.
We're about to start pressing out some of the gallery.
Well, Jack, here is the 17th, 630 yards.
630 yards. There's really only one place you don't want to hit it this week, and that's in that bunker on the left off the tee, because then you won't be able to carry the cross bunkers. But anywhere else, you pretty well can carry the cross bunkers with the long iron and then play a 9 iron or wedge into the green. The fairway slopes left to right on your second shot, so you got to be a little bit careful in keeping the ball in the fairway.
Well, that's been a memorable hole for Jack Nicklaus and for one other competitor yesterday, John Daly. It had never been reached in 2 before. And then it was John Daly's turn to go for it. And with the New York crowd urging him on, he hit a massive drive.
You know, I think the green's probably been reached distance-wise before, Brent. But when you play it uphill over the bunkers and you're going downwind, you really can't keep it on it. And Daly yesterday, if you watch this 1 iron shot, it lands short of the green and bounces around the bunker and sort of gets, see, it bounces around that bunker and sort of gets killed in the long grass and rolls clear back to the back edge of the green. And that's the only way the ball stayed on the green. although I know Daly can hit a 1-iron straight up in the air, he might have been able to stop it, but that's 2 gigantic shots.
Now let's go back to Jansen. This for par.
A little right to left here, and this is the first tester he's had for a while.
A 1-stroke lead.
A little delicate, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Now Jansen is 6 under and Payne Stewart 5 under. Just before that, let's take a look at Watson's birdie attempt. While that was happening, let's go back to the par 3. Here's Nick Price.
Not a hard little shot here. I keep saying that because it's up against the grain. Oh my gosh.
Went after it boldly, didn't he?
Well, I don't think he went after it boldly. I think he just made a very quick stroke. That was even quick for Nick Price.
He had a terrible lie back there, too.
And so the lead is down to 1. Jansen over Payne Stewart right now. Watson, Price, Edwards. David Edwards, who won your tournament a couple years ago. Jack finished up with a 66. That's the low round of the day. The low scores were turned in early. There were 3 67s, Fred Funk, Nolan Hinkey, Mike Donald.
Yeah, most of the good scores would have been early today because it wasn't that difficult.
This is for par for Price. Nice save.
Don't lose that stroke, young man. That was a mighty nice one.
Hazinger's 3rd, 17.
It's just under 100 yards up the hill. It should be just right for his sand wedge.
Got some grooves on that one.
Stewart for birdie and a tie. Missed that one, didn't he?
That was a mighty good putt. I know he's unhappy it didn't go in, but he keeps hitting them like that. They'll start going
in. Watson's up on the tee.
I think you take a look at these two fellas over the ball. Look at the posture of Tom Watson, how nice and straight his back is. How nice rotation of his upper body, how his rear end is sticking out. I've always liked Tom Watson's posture over the golf ball. I thought it's always looked terrific. He's always able to turn away and rotate under it. And Lee Jansen's very much the same way. He's nice posture, good straight back. Legs are flexed, good balance. Tom swings under it a little bit more than Lee, but if you're going to model yourself after a couple of guys, these are two pretty good guys to watch. Very much the same posture over the ball.
Take off, ball.
Well, we go to the 18th, and this is Fred Couples trying to get home in 2 here.
When he's got that in his hand, there's no trying there. He'll get it home. Difficult place to get the ball anywhere around the hole today. It's sitting right over that bunker on the downslope, and you almost have to do what Fred did there and land it just short on the left and let it bounce in.
Azinger for his birdie at 17. Well, if you look at the leaderboard, you know one thing's for sure with this U.S. Open. It was a disaster for the European players. Bernard Langer, Seve Ballesteros, Jose Maria Olazabal, none of them even made the cut. It's Lee Janzen by 1 over Payne Stewart. Ben Hogan's U.S. Open career began and ended at Baltusrol. Hogan's first Open was here in 1936 when he was a scrawny young pro from Texas. He missed the cut. Between 1948 and 1953, Hogan won 4 U.S. Opens. He sought an unprecedented 5th Open on through the 1967 Open on this lower course. By then, he was 54 years old and still a magnificent striker of the ball, but he was by then a dreadful putter. In 1967 at Baltusrol, Hogan, who could hardly draw the putter back, nevertheless finished a respectable 33rd. The leader by 1 over Payne Stewart. This the 3rd round of the U.S. Open at Baltusrol, the 7th time the U.S. Open has been contested here. They have used 3 courses, the original, the upper, and the lower. Lee Janzen at 16, long birdie putt. Jack, you mentioned both of their swings back on the tee. Let's take a look.
You see their posture is very similar here. Their feet look about the same. Their knees are about the same. Their back angle's the same. The rear end looks about the same. Their head posture's about the same. Tom's maybe down a little bit more with his head. The takeaway is the same. The rotation looks the same going back. They both go to about the same place on the swing going back. The difference here is that Tom will go under the ball a little bit more and swing a little bit more left of the target than Lee does. That's the only difference in the 2 players. The 2 good swings to model yourself after, as I said earlier. Both of them keep their head right into the shot. Both of them maintain their body angles. And as you say, Tom's just a little bit further left than Lee, and that's basically because I think he maintains his body angle just a shade longer than Lee does. Oh, to be able to get there again.
Now this is for par. He started the day at 6 under, still there with 3 birdies and 3 bogeys, and Watson chipped up and he made his par, and we move ahead to Azinger, his 2nd shot at the par 5 finishing hole.
227 or 228 to the front. That's a 2-iron.
Hey, left.
Did that ball tick the flagstick?
I think it did.
Sounded like it.
Now on the tee at 17. Here's Watson.
There's a model of staying on the ball, isn't it? That's as good as I've seen Tom Watson swing in a long time. And that was long, too. I don't know whether Watson will or not, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he couldn't get the ball up into those front bunkers from where he is right there.
Might be a little bit of a treacherous lie. We'll see there.
He won't have any problem with that.
Okay, a little bit earlier, Jack. This was couples for eagle. Made that for his birdie.
Left edge of the TV tower.
When you hear that voice, you know Price is about to go to work.
Well, Squeaky's giving him the line. He's also giving the yardage. It's exactly 100 yards for Nick Price.
Here, let's take a look at the way these balls react on the green. See what Nick Price's ball does.
Oh, be right.
Ball reacted very softly. Nick Price plays a hard-covered golf ball. In contrast to Payne, who is playing a soft-covered golf ball.
I think Payne's laid it up just a little bit closer than Nick Price, which maybe is no advantage here, Jack Nicklaus. Payne's only got 90 yards. Might want to be just a little further back.
Well, it's not a bad place. 90 yards is a pretty nice little sand wedge. And he's really got more room there than actually the thing. He pulled a little bit.
It's spinning, though.
You see, that ball was spinning a little bit more than Nick's ball was, but two different types of shots played with two different kinds of golf balls.
Up on the 18th tee, Scott Hope. It's one of our first-round leaders when he shot that opening 66. Fell back to 72 yesterday.
Nice ball.
Good tee shot there.
Jack, take us through this hole.
Well, the 18th hole is 542 yards. It's very, very close along the trees on the left side. There's water on the left. So the player's got to try to work it down the left side, but try to avoid the trees and the water to get the flat lie on the left side of the fairway to become into the green from that between the center bunker and the left bunker. And that's the place just short you want to land it and let it bounce on. It can be reached fairly easy for most of the fellas with a drive and a long iron or a drive and a fairway wood.
Well, some great memories for Jack Nicklaus. Let's go back to 67.
That was a 238-yard one iron into the wind. That was probably as long a one iron as I've ever carried.
What a wonderful shot.
That was old-time golf balls too. That was a 22-foot putt to break Hogan's record. Shot 65 that day, and of course 275 was a score. And here we are with
1980's third shot.
1980 playing his third shot into the green. I was sitting in the middle of the fairway, and I was listening to the crowd's roar as this ball almost went into the hole. And I had 66 yards here from a little knob right in the center of the fairway, and I knew if I just got it over the bunker on the green somewhere, I would win the golf tournament. Now I have 2 putts to win the tournament. I ended up making the putt, which of course won by 2 strokes, and of course I shot 272 to break the Open record.
Right. Great memories, great feeling that had to be. Now Payne Stewart for a birdie at 17. He trails Jensen by 1.
Ball breaks off a little bit more here than it really looks. See if Payne sees it. And he didn't hit it.
Azinger, eagle opportunity at 18.
Everybody's left that putt short from the back, haven't they? Everybody we've seen.
Now here's Jansen second at 17.
All he wants to do here is keep it in the fairway and get it over the cross bunkers.
Good ball. Good play. Get out. Your leg.
That's fine.
Nice shot.
Very well played.
Remember, Price birdied 17 and 18 yesterday.
Well, he should learn from Payne's putt here that putt's not quite as fast to look, but it also tails off very quickly at the end. on him a little bit.
Lee Jansen, who started the day at 6 under, went birdie. He's had 3 birdies and 3 bogeys today to stay at 6 under. Stewart played the front 9 and level par, and now coming after him with 1 birdie and just missed an opportunity that would have left him tied. Azinger for birdie at 18.
Quick breaking putt here. Nicely held. That's a great position for Azinger to be in, 2 under par. He likes that position. He had his problems today, and he's come out of it with a pretty darn good round.
At the 17th, our leader's 3rd shot, par 5.
120 yards, just a nice wedge. Little wind behind.
Is he on a slight downslope there, Rossi?
Oh, not too bad, Jack. He had to dig it live. Pulled it a little.
But stop quickly though.
Working towards the hole. Probably pin high. It's tough to do out there. Get the dip.
Watson's next.
Tom laid it up about 90 yards from the hole.
Yeah.
You want to watch somebody can cut the pants out from underneath the golf ball with a sand wedge. Here's a guy. We'll put some action on this one.
Spin.
28-year-old Lee Jansen leads. It's the 3rd round of the U.S. Open. Well, Saturday, July 10th on ABC Sports will be at the Cherry Hills Country Club for the Senior Tour's National Championship. The defending champion, Larry Loretti, joins Jack Nicklaus in the Senior Tour's finest at the U.S. Senior Open. It's coming up July 10th. And now we go on to our leader here, Lee Jansen.
Too bad he didn't have the benefit of watching Payne Stewart's putt. You know, you need to hit it a little bit harder. Guys have been fooled by that all day.
He'll take his par and 1-stroke advantage to the 18th tee.
Notice Tom wasn't very happy with his 3rd shot in here. He let it slip away from him. He didn't get the spin on it that he tried or liked to have gotten on it, and he's left himself with about a, I guess 17, 18-foot putt. Breaks a little bit from his right to left.
There is Payne Stewart's mother enjoying watching her son here at the U.S. Open. Last time he won was 2 years ago at the U.S. Open. He's done everything this year but win, and he's got a chance now.
That's a big one there. That is a big one.
Scott Hook's 3rd shot on up ahead in the greenside bunker here at 18. Jack, how did you find the sand here at Baltusrol?
I think the sand's fine. I think what the USGA did was put a little bit heavier grain sand in, and the bunkers are a little softer, but I think it plays fine. I think it's, yeah, you can get a lie that's not perfect, but it's, you know, a sand tap's supposed to be a penalty, and I think it's fine. Nicky swung a little under that shot and rerouted it inside, and the ball got away from him a little on the right. That doesn't look like a great lie right there.
Got to clear this guy.
Now, Tom Watson on the 17th is practice putting. He has done this earlier in this U.S. Open. And Frank Hannigan, what's the rule on this?
Well, Brent, the rules of golf do not prevent practice putting, do not prohibit it unless you unduly delay play. But the rules also allow a committee in charge of a competition to put in a local rule or condition banning play. And that's what's done on the PGA Tour week in and week out. They use this condition that bans practice putting, but the USGA doesn't use it in the US Open, the RNA doesn't use it in the British Open, Augusta doesn't use it in the Masters, so he's doing it.
Now this is
He is doing it. That's a costly bogey for Mr. Hoke. He had himself in a pretty good position and leaves himself a lot more work tomorrow because of that.
Well, with Tom Watson, it's kind of nice when you're in the last group and you want to practice putt. You're certainly not holding up anybody. Now let's go to Nick Price and his problem.
Nick had a horrible lie in the rough, as Jack mentioned. Just had to lay it down about 100 yards short.
He's actually left it in a spot where he might be able to stop a third shot.
Corey Pavin, who had all kinds of problems on the front side, back-to-back double bogeys, then a bogey, gave up 5 shots to par in 3 holes. Then closes out with back-to-back birdies. Started the day at 3 under, and he'll close out at 2-0. It could have been a whole lot worse, that round. Now Payne Stewart getting ready.
Payne's got 209 yards up the hill to this front hole placement today.
I haven't seen anybody out that far all day, Mark.
He's really driven the ball great. Played a bogey-free round, Jack, and could have been a whole lot lower. It seems like his golf ball's kind of been afraid of the dark today. He's hit a number of putts that have rolled right up to the hole, but none of them have fallen in.
Be right.
Either one. Oh, no. Stop. Stop.
Stewart.
That's all I had now.
Trailing by 1. We'll be back with more after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at the U.S. Open, the weather has held after that ominous warning. This on videotape. Tom Watson at the 18th.
And that is in the stream.
So on up ahead, Payne Stewart. This a long eagle opportunity.
Everybody's left it short from here. Let's see what he does. Obviously, it's a right-to-left break. They've all seen everybody else's break right to left. The same thing basically everybody else has done, left it short and low.
Now Jansen on the tee at 18. Watson in the hazard. With a birdie opportunity.
Let's see if he learned from the speed of Payne's that you've really got to pop it pretty good, and it's going to peel off pretty quick to the left on it.
Yes, he did learn indeed. That's exactly what happened there, Jack.
He had enough speed on it to hold its line.
To 3 under and into third place.
Actually, that tee shot that went in the rough didn't turn out too bad, did it?
Sure didn't. Now, Payne Stewart eyeing a putt. If he makes this one, he would be tied with Jansen.
Left himself a fairly easy putt. So should be just right up the hill and a little bit on the, actually just probably just inside the right edge.
Lee Jansen still coming down the fairway. Second shot for Jansen.
245 yards. Lee Jansen off a downhill lie. Very low, going right at the opening. Tom Watson dropped out of the water, hit his third shot across the fairway with a layup club, went just into the edge of the right-hand rough, and he's going to have a very tough fourth shot.
All right, Rossi, and when we come back, we'll see Lee Jansen go for the lead in the third round of the U.S. Open. Now on videotape, this is Tom Watson. It is tee shot into the hazard. This is fourth shot.
Soft. Soft.
Not much chance to stop it there. He's going to do very well if he can get out of here with 6.
Oh, we had that weather warning. It seems so eerie when the stand cleared completely here at the 18th, but now it is cleared enough, allowing us to finish the third round. And grandstand again jammed around this finishing hole here at Baltusrol as we take a look at some of the other scores. Long, tough par putt here.
Well, let's see. Watson's played a couple opens here. He ought to, maybe he'll hit it hard enough. About as close as anybody's come. obviously faces the same problem that all the other fellows have faced, of not knowing that the green is slower than it looks. Waking from his right to his left. Well, Jansen's a little closer than everybody else. His ball sort of skipped over that bunker, hung up in the rough a little bit, and he actually has really a pretty legitimate eagle putt. A little bit more up the green and not quite as dangerous as the other ones.
For the third round lead.
Not a single soul's got the ball up to the cup there today. Pretty darn good putt, though. I think he'll be very happy with that.
Watson for bogey. Eight-year-old Lee Jansen looking for his first birdie on the back nine and the third round lead. Lee Jansen and Payne Stewart will go out together tomorrow. One shot separating them. Paul Azinger. He will start tomorrow at 2 under par after birdieing the last 2 holes today. And Paul is standing by with our Jim McKay. Jim?
Well, Paul, congratulations on a fine round of 69. It was not without its adventures. You were around the hole all day with your putter and finally birdied the last 2 to stay right in the fight here. Congratulations.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, I putted a lot better today than either of the first 2 days. I missed a lot of short putts around the 5 to 7 foot range. But I drove it quite well the first 2 days, and today I didn't drive it particularly well, but hit some good iron shots out of the rough and really hit some good long putts. Had a lot of chances.
Tell me exactly how hot was it to play out there today?
Well, it was probably the hottest conditions I've played in since 1987, the PGA Championship down in West Palm Beach. It took a lot out of me. Around the 8th hole, I started feeling dehydrated and just tired. Fortunately, we had a little weight on number 11, and I got up in the shade and wrapped a cold towel around my head, and I recovered nicely, I feel, and I guess I cooled myself off because around the 12th tee, I felt much better. And I started hitting some good tee shots in the end, and fortunately those birdies in the last 2 holes got me back in it.
Had to dig deep down for the energy for those 2 last birdies, I should imagine.
Yeah, I contemplated going for 17. I had, I guess I hit it around 315 off the tee, and I had some wind at my back, and I pulled that driver. I had the ball on upslope, and I had 290 to the front, and thought, you know, if I could get it somewhere over there on the left side, it might be an easy up and down. I ended up laying up and hit a good sandwich in there for a nice birdie from about 10 feet, and then the last hole I hit a good 1 iron from the fairway.
Jack Nicklaus and Bob Rosberg were conjecturing a little earlier that the ball seems to be going further this week. Farther.
This is as far as I've ever hit it with my irons.
You have any explanation for that?
All I can think is maybe the humidity, the heat and the humidity combined. I don't really know, but it's pretty easy to hit 145 and 50-yard 9 irons, and I'm hitting 6 iron, 185 yards, no problem. And, you know, normally that's just not the case.
Okay, Paul Azinger with a 1 under par 69 today. Keep it going tomorrow, Paul.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
Jim,
Over to
thank
you,
you
Brad.
very much. We had 18 sub-70 rounds today overall. We're going to hear from our two leaders, Lee Jansen and Payne Stewart.